From stock car racing's wild frontier into the sport's innovative leader. The first super speedway race under the lights was here. 4 months ago under those lights, Wisconsin's young Matt Kenseth won his first major race in the Coca-Cola 600. Today it will help define the Winston Cup Championship. Jarrett, Earnhardt, and Burton will chase Bobby Labonte into the high bank turns at over 190 miles per hour. And the spirit of those wild frontier days will be alive and well on every lap. 334 laps, 501 miles for $2.5 million. That's the setting for the UAW-GM Quality 500 41st running here at Lowe's Motor Speedway, Charlotte, North Carolina. It's a brisk day, temperature in the mid-50s, a frisky little breeze of 15 to 20 miles per hour will push them down that main straightaway into turn one at over 190. Crowd gathering right now as our pre-race show gets underway, and let's meet the man everyone is talking about. He is in the front row, and he is leading in Winston Cup points, Bobby Labonte.
And Bobby Labonte heads into this event with a 213-point advantage and may be just 6 races away from his first Winston Cup title. And Bobby, considering what's at stake, how do you keep this team focused?
Well, I mean, you know, we just try to go out there and do the best we can. Winston Cup title is there at the end of the year, but, you know, we got to do everything we could do just like we have been all along, and it's run real fast and as hard as we can and being as consistent as possible. So do the stuff like you've been doing to get here and just see what that does for us.
Consistency is key. Bobby Labonte needs just an average 6th place finish in the next 6 events to clinch his first Winston Cup title. Thank you, Bobby.
Okay, thanks a lot.
43 drivers being introduced to the crowd right now, and we'll introduce them to you as well. From the rear of the field, provisional starter, back in that shotgun position, Ted Musgrave. Other provisional starters today include Sterling Marlin and Las Vegas' Kurt Busch. But take a look at row 20, Steve Park. He crashed yesterday, tore up his car. They've got it back together and ready to run. Terry Labonte, a former winner, here beside him. How about row 19? These are provisional starters, and they are Dale Earnhardt, number 2 in points. Jeff Burton, number 3 in points. Look at row number 18. There you've got the ageless Dick Trickle and Hutch Strickland. In row 17 today, there's the story. His 25th and final performance in this race. 3-time Winston Cup winner Darrell Waltrip in his final show at Charlotte. Brett Bodine and Kenny Wallace are in the next row back, followed by Dave Blaney and Mike Bliss. Then coming up to row 14, brand new team, Jeff Fuller there. Go to row 13, Robbie Gordon. Matt Kenseth, he won yesterday. He won the 600 back in the spring. Can he keep that string going? We'll know shortly. Up to row 12, Elliott Sadler and Wally Dallenbach. In row 11, you've got Joe Nemechek, who won, but for a pint of gasoline yesterday. Rusty Wallace beside him. In row 10, Bobby Hamilton and Ken Schrader, and Schrader is really running well in happy hour yesterday. Tony Stewart, he's going for 3 in a row today. Let's see if he can do it. In row 8, Robert Presley and Kevin LePage. For row 7, Dale Earnhardt Jr. won the Winston on this track. Michael Waltrip alongside. In row 6, Rick Mast. Ward Burton had a great qualifying run. For row 5, Johnny Benson. Many say this is the dark horse that can do it all today, and Jeremy Mayfield. In row 4, this is his 45th birthday, and for a present, he would like to win his 3rd 500 here. Row 3, the man who's 4th in points, Dale Jarrett, and Ricky Rudd, a former winner of the event. Jerry Nadeau started 2nd in the 600, 3rd today, and Mr. Excitement, Jimmy Spencer's alongside. In the front row, the defending champion in this 500-miler, Jeff Gordon, and the man who's number 1 in Winston Cup points, Bobby Labonte. Well, that's how they'll line up for today's race. There you see some of the field. An interesting story about one of the great racing families when we return, the Petty family.
UAW-GM Quality 500 pre-race coverage on the Superstation is brought to you by Circuit City, the official electronics store of NASCAR, and by NapaOnline.com, where everything great about Napa is now available online.
Back with you live at Lowe's Motor Speedway, and a good day, everyone. Ken Squire. The name Petty is synonymous with Charlotte, and as you know, racing is a very public sport. But when tragedy strikes, those affected in this sport become very, very private. As you're probably well aware, fourth-generation driver, 19-year-old Adam Petty, was killed 5 months ago in a racetrack incident. A member of another great racing family, Liz Allison, the widow of Davy, has talked to the Pettys this week about their loss and how they cope. And we feel that her conversation with Austin, Montgomery Lee, Patty, and Kyle is a very rare and very moving insight into loss and recovery.
Cry. I think that it's hard because I still see so many things that I wanted him to do. And that's hard.
How do you deal with Kyle's pain?
I think that's the hardest. I'm learning to deal with mine. I'm learning to live without Adam. I'm learning to live vicariously through my other two children. Kyle was living vicariously through Adam, but also Adam was Kyle's best friend. They went everywhere together. They did everything together. They thought alike. They adored each other. And there is such a loss when I look in Kyle's eyes now, and it is very hard.
I think you can look at it two ways, and you can look at it as saying that, you know, yeah, it was tragic, and, you know, I don't think the pain that the parents go through, it's incredible, but I don't think you can put it into words, but at the same time, you can make it a positive or a negative. And I think that we look at it that we were blessed for 19 years to have Adam in our life.
Adam Petty will win the Easy Care 100 at Charlotte.
It was big, definitely big. It was like there wasn't any room to walk around the victory lane because he had all of his friends there watching him. And Grandpa was there, and Dad, and Mom, and Grandma, and everybody. It's like everybody got shuffled around, you know, because you got your chance to say congratulations, Adam, and then you were pushed back in line for somebody else to say congratulations.
It was really cool in Victory Lane in Charlotte that night, and it'll probably be one of our greatest moments as a family.
How important is it to you as a family to have Adam remembered?
Very. Yeah, you know, but
Very much.
my memories of Adam are special, and there probably some of them are different than what even Patty has or what Austin or Montgomery Lee has. So I think it's important for us to keep the memory alive for ourselves. And if other people keep the memory alive and they remember him, then that's good too, because then that means that he made an impact on their life.
He didn't want people to remember him as somebody who always put Christ first in his life, and that he cared a lot about his racing, and he always put Christ before he put his racing.
For us is to just have faith in Christ and to believe and to have faith that, you know, that Adam, it was a blessing to have the child here and to have Adam here, and it is a blessing to have Montgomery Lee and Austin and Patty, and it's a blessing for us to still be together and that someday we'll see him again.
For only the second time in the history of this race, there is no Petty in the field today. Liz Allison, just a beautiful and compelling piece. It seems, from watching that the Pettys have come to a new place in their grief.
I think they have. They're a very close family. They have a strong relationship with God. And you really feel Adam's presence when you're with them. And the interesting thing about it is that with racing, they've been in it in years. They accept the risk, and they seem to be at a peace with Adam's death now.
Well, thank you again for a lovely piece. Liz Allison. The crowd gathering here today wearing fall wear. A little on the brisk side, as we said at the start. We'll see you with more in a moment. At Lowe's Motor Speedway, the champions being brought around this mile-and-a-half track so the crowd can give them a cheer before they go out. There's Darrell Waltrip and daughters. Point standings as we come to 28 of 34, 6 races left. Mathematically, 5 drivers have a shot at it, but only 3 are real contestants for that top spot of Bobby Labonte, Earnhardt, Burton, and Jarrett. And Marty Snyder has more on this story.
Ken, all 4 contenders are going after the same goal, the biggest prize in American motorsports, but they all want it for very different reasons, and the story reads like a Hollywood script. He has been there. He has experienced it, but he has yet to claim it for himself. The Winston Cup trophy is in the family bloodline for Bobby Labonte. Twice older brother Terry has been king of the sport. The first time, Bobby was helping out in the shop. The second time, he was winning races. Now, it is his time. In this script, Labonte plays the good guy in the leading role. Through the school of hard work, hard knocks, and hard lessons, the younger Labonte has paid his dues. The Winston Cup is there for the taking. It is now his to lose.
To win the Winston Cup championship, you have to have some growing pains probably to go through it, and people around you that have done it and, you know, experienced it. So I don't think it's just going to happen by sheer luck.
In this Hollywood feature, Dale Earnhardt is a sage veteran seeking one more shot at greatness. 7 times he has hugged the trophy. Shrewd and wise in his moves, he has driven a masterful season. But it has taken Earnhardt 6 years to get back to the top. There is no doubt this is his best shot at the record 8th title, and maybe his last.
We're tied with Richard Petty, and we've had a great career in Winston Cup racing, but the 8th championship's what's at hand. It's the next goal. It's the next tier on the ladder.
For Dale Jarrett, title number 2 would secure his status as one of the all-time greats in stock car racing history. While 2000 came in like a lion with an impressive win in the Daytona 500, the rest has been much more like a lamb. Consistent, yes. Dominant, no.
Even though we've put ourselves in position a few times to run up front and win, it hasn't been that consistently up front in the 1, 2, and 3 positions.
In this screenplay, Jeff Burton is the youngster ready to answer the bell next year. His season, very reminiscent of Bobby Labonte's campaign in 1999. The old cliche, lose one before you win one, that could be Jeff Burton. But with slim title hopes still alive, Burton is a realist.
No matter what we do, as good as they are, as good as that whole team is, if they don't have trouble, we will not win the Winston Cup championship. It's in their court. They can lose the championship at this point, but if they do, it's because they lost it. It won't be because we went and took it.
There it is, the elusive prize. Who will win it? Who knows? But the climax in the script might come today. Charlotte in October has either been the demise or the catapult to many a Winston Cup champion. Ken?
The only monster that Bobby Labonte has to seem to worry about is the one he's riding with in the pre-race parade around the mile-and-a-half track as the drivers continue to be introduced. Mike Massaro is down there on pit road, and he might just be able to give you a ride in this parade with the leading guy in the whole event, the pole sitter himself. Mike?
And Ken, a very interesting perspective circling the Lowe's Motor Speedway with your pole sitter, Jeff Gordon. And Jeff, you start up front this afternoon, but what's the key to keeping it up there all afternoon long?
Well, you know, we've got a great race car, but it's going to change throughout the run. On new tires, what it does on low pressures versus what it's going to do once the pressure builds up and the tire wear starts to go away. But it's so cool, you know, I think the tires are going to stand there pretty good for most of the day. But, you know, none of us practiced in this cold of weather, so it's going to be interesting. But DuPont Chevrolet is running great. We got a good car, and we just got to be there at the end.
It's Jeff Gordon's 7th career pole right here at Charlotte, more than any other driver on the active list.
Mixed reviews for Jeff Gordon as we get down toward pole time here. Fall weather gear is in order at Lowe's Motor Speedway today, just a bit on the cool side. Let's meet the man who is up there trying to close on Labonte for that championship. Marty Snyder's with him now.
Well, Ken, listen to this stat. Before this weekend, Dale Earnhardt had taken 2 provisionals at Charlotte. In those 2 races, he finished 2nd and 3rd. So maybe a provisional is a good thing for you. I don't know. Should we expect another top 3 finish today?
Well, I don't know why not. It's a great racetrack for us. We run good here. It's a tough day, though. It's really cool. I don't know what our setup's going to be like. We got some adjustment in the car. We'll just have to see. Hopefully we can get some time on pit road to adjust on the cars, a few pit stops, and maybe get the car right. We'll be right.
We'll set the bar high. We'll expect that top 3 finish from you. 37th, he will start today, and believe me, he's not out of the championship chase yet.
On this very cool day, the hottest driver here is this driver. Won at Dover 2 weeks ago on the Monster Mile, Tony Stewart. The Indiana driver came back last week on the half mile at Martinsville, Virginia, and he cranked out another win. And he is now looking for win number 3 straight, and he's with Mike Hogwood.
In Las Vegas instead of a race car driver, but we'll see. I mean, we got a really good car. The guys, you know, this time around at Charlotte, they've really come up with some things that have really made me a lot more comfortable with this new tire, and you know, we just keep trying to fine tune on it right now. So we still got a little bit of catching up to do, but we got 500 miles to do it today.
Tony Stewart is ready to go, and we're ready to go here at the Lowe's Motor Speedway. More of our pre-race in just a moment.
At Lowe's Motor Speedway, the talk is of champions. Joe Gibbs in football took 4 teams to the Super Bowl and twice took the crown. In stock car racing, he is on the brink of winning the top award, the Winston Cup, with Bobby Labonte. With more on the story, here is Mike Hogwood.
Ken, you talked to Bobby Labonte and his car owner Joe Gibbs about this championship, and, well, they just won't say much about it. There's still 6 races to go, but the crew, that's a different story. Boy, they feel the pressure, the intensity. They are determined to do it each and every race. Butch Hilton is the car chief for Bobby Labonte. When crew chief Jimmy Makar, Labonte wants a change in the setup. Hilton is responsible for making it happen. There is no margin for error. Hilton has come close to a championship twice while working for Mark Martin's team. He wants a championship in the worst way.
I've been trying to do this since I was 17 years old and watch guys on the sport, work my way up. If I could just get one of them, I think it would be a real big thing for me and my family too, because they put a lot into it too. Being gone, you know, doing a lot of things without them.
Mark Cronquist is the head engine builder at Gibbs Racing. He knows an early race engine failure would be devastating. Labonte would lose much of his big lead over the other contenders. Despite the pressure, Cronquist says the team is trying to stay loose.
We all have fun. I mean, you can watch us. We all joke around. We laugh. We giggle. You know, the pressure's there, but we don't show it outside ourselves. And you know, we're on each other pretty hard about making sure we do the right job, but we don't yell and scream at each other. And we're a bunch of good friends, and we all like to have fun too.
One Labonte team member has a championship ring. Peter Jellin drives the transporter and gasses the car on race day. He did the same for Alan Kulwicki in 1992. Jellin says that the intensity to win is great. Everyone knows a mistake in one area could cost his team the championship.
You don't want to be the one that, oh my God, he left that loose, oh my God, that if that didn't happen, we could have, should have, would have. So you don't want to be that one, but surely you don't want to see the guy you work next to have that problem or be the one, because it'd be hard to live with.
Now, when you talk to the Labonte team members, you realize the admiration they have for their driver, the wheelman they call Bobby Labonte, and they're convinced that if they do their job today, the wheelman will do the rest and end up in victory lane. Ken?
It is indeed a team sport, and over the past couple of days, Turner Sports essayist Jim Huber has been down here and following this particular team. Your thoughts?
Ken, it's a time when we got to really look very deep inside all of these guys, and so it comes down to this really with 6 races to go in the Winston Cup season. The championship is Bobby Labonte's to lose, and what kind of pressure must that be? Labonte has worked for this his entire career. He's dreamed of it. He's tasted it. And now that it's almost here, ironically, it must seem farther away than ever before. Though he will be attached at the ear and at the heart with his pit crew all day long, imagine how alone he will seem. Whose voices indeed will he really be hearing as he moves closer and closer to his championship? Jimmy Makar, his crew chief? Certainly. Would Joe Gibbs have a word or two for him to settle him as he calmed his Redskins long ago, to assure him that indeed racing Super Bowl is his now if he stays collected? Will he hear Makar or Gibbs? or will he simply only hear his own heartbeat, loud and fast and racing like restrictor plates hadn't been invented yet? Ken?
Jim Huber getting down towards the start in the UAW-GM Quality 500 for the 41st time. We'll be back with the race in just a moment.
UAW-GM Quality 500 pre-race coverage on the Superstation is brought to you by Priceline.com. Name your own price. Airline tickets, hotel rooms, new cars, mortgages, and more. Priceline.com. And by Imodium AD. Restore yourself.
Of stock car supremacy. For 51 years, men like these have been measured by their titles in NASCAR's most prestigious series. Today, this goal is finally within reach for Bobby Labonte. After a decade of effort, his first series title is his to lose. Focused on overtaking him, defending champion Dale Jarrett. The determined Virginian, Jeff Burton. And the legend, Earnhardt, who needs to pass Labonte to win an unprecedented 8th title. Today, at Charlotte, it's a major step in their quest. They're ready to loosen the thunder for the UAW-GM Quality 500 at Lowe's Motor Speedway. $2.5 million for these 43 drivers, running 334 laps, 501 miles, the distance to be covered. In this, the race of the day on American sports scene. Take a look at the front row for today. And there you've got the whole story. Jeff Gordon, who won this race a year ago. And beside him, the guy that's up on top in points, Bobby Labonte. Earnhardt right there in second. This is a key day for Earnhardt, who starts back in a provisional position. And let's go trackside right now with Marty Snyder.
Ken, if winning the Winston Cup Championship was a college course, Bobby Labonte would have an A+. So far, he's passed every test. He's even aced a few pop quizzes along the way. The mood in the Labonte camp today, very relaxed, very confident. After all, Charlotte's one of Bobby's best tracks. And with a 213-point lead and 6 races to go, the pressure on this team is not to win the Winston Cup title, but the pressure on these guys is not to lose it. To Mike Hogwood.
Well, for Dale Earnhardt and Jeff Burton, the next 2 competitors in the points chase, well, it hasn't been a good week so far. They had to take provisional starts, 37 and 38. But Dale Jarrett already strapped into his race car. He starts 5th today. Thinking about the points, Dale Jarrett says he's 251 points out. He's not really thinking about that, but he is thinking about winning this race today.
We'll be back to take a look at the starting field once again in this 500-miler. Stay with us here on TBS for live flag-to-flag coverage.
The UAW-GM Quality 500 on the Superstation is brought to you by UAW-GM. Assembly line to finish line. Teamwork wins. By Budweiser. With a crisp, clean, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer. This Bud's for you. By NapaOnline.com, where everything great about Napa is now available online. And by Citgo. You love racing. We love racing.
Approximately 20 seconds to ignition, and we launch this 41st running of the Fall Classic in Charlotte, North Carolina. The UAW-GM Quality 500 for the 43 best stock car drivers in America. Let's go trackside for the call.
Gentlemen, start your engine.
folks from UAW and GM making the call to get this one underway. And once it's underway, to give you all the play-by-play of today's action, let's go to Alan Bestwick.
Ken, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone from Charlotte. Looking forward to bringing you an exciting race today, and looking forward to bringing you more of it than we've ever been able to before. Something new you may have read about earlier in the week, featured in our TBS coverage today. We're calling it No Brakes Racing. Through the cooperation of many of our sponsors, we're going to be able to show you continuous racing action during most of the commercial breaks in today's race. Now, about 20% of the breaks will still be shown to you in the traditional manner, but during 80% of the commercials today, you'll see the commercial in the upper two-thirds of the screen, along with the soundtrack for the commercial, but in the lower part of the screen, continuous live action from the racetrack, along with our scoring and data box on the left side of the lower part of the screen. Hope you enjoy it. It's TBS No Brakes Racing, and we're looking forward to bringing it to you this afternoon. Now let's dive into a couple of final stories before the start of today's race. Buddy Baker works with me on the call today, a four-time Winston Cup winner here at Charlotte. We've talked about the championship contenders. Their final thoughts now before they roll off in this race.
It's kind of a shaky thing. They know they have to go 500 miles flawlessly to catch it, Bobby Labonte, and it's going to be tough because Bobby Labonte's had nothing but great luck. Luck is kind of like love. You can't see it, but you know it's there. When you have great luck like Bobby Labonte's had, he wrecked in Martinsville last week, recovered, and had a great finish. When you have that kind of luck, it's going to be tough to get him, but, you know, they're hoping he'll stumble somewhere along the way.
Yeah, Earnhardt and Burton and Jarrett need a Labonte stumble. Labonte wants his good luck to continue. Weather will be a story today. Look at the temperature. It is cool. It is cloudy. This Charlotte racetrack known as being exceptionally moody as far as the weather conditions compared to the handling of the cars. The executive editor of Speedway Illustrated magazine, Dick Berggren, works with me on the call of today's race as well. Dick, weather and its effect on the cars and the race.
Well, the weather here at Charlotte certainly affects the race cars more than any other speedway where they compete. When the sun goes in and out from behind the clouds, the cars tighten up. They loosen up. But today, the story is the cold. Engine builders told me this morning they expect that they're going to see 35 more horsepower out of the engines as a result of the 30-degree differential in temperature from what we have today compared to what we ordinarily would have. Chassis builders say that the tires are going to grip the racetrack better today by far than they ordinarily would. Weather, you bet, it's going to be a factor.
So we'll see how it plays out here over the course of the next few hours. The car's getting ready to roll off. Back with the start of the race in Charlotte next. The final fireworks of pre-race festivities, a little overhead air show by some of America's finest from the United States Air Force. Believe that's an F-15. Now the cars on the racetrack, as you can see, getting gathered up behind the pace car to set their 55-mile-an-hour pit road speed limit. 3 parade and pace laps before the green flag in this afternoon's event. Here's a starting lineup review in case you missed it earlier in our pre-race show. Jeff Gordon is on the pole, his 7th Charlotte pole in 16 tries. He's the defending winner of this race. Bobby Labonte, the championship leader, coming into the race, starts on the front row alongside. Jerry Nadeau, many folks think could be a threat to get his first Winston Cup win. Starts in row 2. Jimmy Spencer, terrific qualifying run. Can he get back to victory lane for the first time since '94? Dale Jarrett's a 3-time Charlotte winner. He's back in row number 3 alongside Ricky Rudd, another driver with an excellent car in yesterday's final practice. The 4th row, Bill Elliott and Mark Martin, a 3-time winner in this Charlotte October race. Johnny Benson, his team very confident this morning that they can have a good run today. Perhaps another potential first-time winner, Jeremy Mayfield, with him in row 5. The 6th row, Rick Mast out of Virginia, and South Boston, Virginia's Ward Burton in the Bill Davis Racing Pontiac. Dale Earnhardt Jr. back in row 7, led so much of the 600 here back in May. Michael Waltrip, his teammate next year, is alongside there. The 8th row, Robert Presley and Kevin LePage. Row number 9, it's Tony Stewart trying for the three-peat, trying to win 3 straight Winston Cup races. And Mike Skinner, who came so close here in this race 1 year ago to get aced out by Jeff Gordon at the end. Bobby Hamilton and Ken Schrader both needing a good run to kind of turn around what have been difficult summers. They're in row 10. Joe Nemechek came within a gallon of gas of winning the Busch Series race here yesterday. Came up short with 2 to go. And Rusty Wallace, he will come to the front fast from row number 11. Elliott Sadler in the Wood Brothers car starts in row number 12 along with Wally Dallenbach in the TBS machine. It's Robbie Gordon and Matt Kenseth in row 13. Kenseth, winner of the Coca-Cola 600 here at Charlotte in May on TBS. Jeff Fuller returns to Winston Cup Racing with a brand new team. He's in row 14. John Andretti in the Petty Enterprises machine alongside. The 15th row is Dave Blaney, one of the rookie drivers this season. Actually, an all-rookie 15th row. Mike Bliss is there alongside. Brett Bodine and Kenny Wallace back in the 16th row. Kenny's team changing an engine this morning, hoping the one they put in is up to snuff when they drop the green flag. Here's a contrast for you in row 17. Andy Houston makes his second Winston Cup start in this race. Darrell Waltrip, his final start here at Charlotte today. It is race number 55 at this racetrack for DW. Veterans Dick Trickle and Hutch Strickland. In row number 18, the 19th row, a couple of the four contenders for the championship, Dale Earnhardt and Jeff Burton, both struggling in qualifying. They've got a long way to go to get to the front in this race. Steve Park with a happy hour crash yesterday. The team repaired the car. He'll stay in row 20 with Terry Labonte, Sterling Marlin, and Kurt Busch in his third Winston Cup start in row 21, and Ted Musgrave rounds out the field for this race. Let's get some final reports from pit road before we cut them loose. We'll start with Marty Snyder.
Alan, NASCAR 2000 has been a season of discovery for Jeff Gordon. A new crew chief, new crew members, and a new teammate. When Gordon felt he was losing the handle on Charlotte, his favorite and most successful racetrack, he turned to what many think was an unexpected source. Teammate Jerry Nadeau. The qualifying setup that put Gordon on the pole came from Nadeau. The base for Gordon's race setup today, Nadeau as well. And thanks to Nadeau, Gordon said this is the best car he's had at Charlotte in years. Can Jeff Gordon win today? Absolutely. And if he does, I bet he thanks Jerry Nadeau in victory lane. After all, as Gordon said, what are teammates for? To Mike Hogwood.
Well, Jimmy Spencer starts fourth today. He's had only 4 top 10s all year, and after qualifying on Wednesday, Jimmy was absolutely giddy about his run. They call Jimmy Mr. Excitement because of his hard driving, aggressive style. He hopes he earns that title today by having some excitement in victory lane. To Mike Massaro.
In May, Jerry Nadeau came painfully close to claiming his first Winston Cup victory right here in Charlotte. He qualified on the outside pole, led 115 laps before being sidelined with terminal engine problems. This weekend, however, he returned with a vengeance, qualified third, and has been at the top of the speed charts all weekend long. He's looking for vindication, and perhaps even with a little bit of luck, maybe even his first Winston Cup victory.
Field going to get the signal with one more lap. We will go racing as they come to the start-finish line. Let's take a look back at Steve Park, who had some problems here on one of the pace laps a minute ago.
Well, what he was doing there, he was going back and forth to put a little heat in the tires and to clean the racing surface, and the tires are cold. He almost spun the car around.
Knowing that, it ought to make the first couple of laps kind of interesting in this event. Here's the race analysis and the facts and figures on the day. There we go.
Well, the key line right there is going to be the pit window, the bottom line, 67 to 70 laps with the cold weather. Engines are producing more horsepower. That will eat more fuel. This race has a history of few caution flags. Fuel could be a factor today.
Got some great onboard looks for you today during our coverage of the race. We start with the Intimidator. Dale Earnhardt going to come from 37th to get up toward the front. Tony Stewart goes for the three-peat from 17th starting spot. We'll ride with him today. Dale Earnhardt Jr. will go to the grid in 13th position. There is Jr. strapped into the office. It'll be the 8th starting spot for Mark Martin today, a 3-time winner in this race here at Charlotte. Not been on fire during the week's practice, but I would count on him not being a factor. There's Dale Jarrett, starting 5th today, needs a good run to stay in the hunt for the championship. And Bobby Labonte starts on the outside of the front row, 213 points up on Dale Earnhardt in the fight for the championship. Labonte has finished 2nd here at Charlotte. What, the last 2 straight races, last 3 straight races. So he'd be very happy, I think, with that 2nd place finish today.
Look for Bobby Labonte to try to get a great restart here when they drop the green flag. He needs those 5 bonus points for leading a lap. He would love to beat Jeff Gordon as they take off.
The prelims have been going on since Wednesday. They're over now. The seatbelts are tight. The helmets are on. The fans are on their feet. It's time to start the UAW-GM Quality 500 at Charlotte. Gordon gets the jump on Labonte into turn 1. Here comes Bobby up the outside. Going to go for those 5 bonus championship points in a hurry.
And he's going to get it. He got a great run off turn 4 there. 5 points for Bobby Labonte.
And that's the 12th race in a row he has led here at Lowe's Motor Speedway. No other driver has led that many consecutive Winston Cup races.
Labonte leads. Gordon is second. Nadeau is third. That's Rudd in fourth. Dale Jarrett is settled in line fifth. Jimmy Spencer sixth. Martin, Elliott, Mayfield, and Benson in the first 10 spots.
Jeff Gordon coming on the inside. There's Jerry Nadeau in the 25. And, you know, that might have been a prearranged move that they let Bobby Labonte by there. Jeff Gordon was in 10th place in points. They may have talked about that because they sure got by him pretty easily when they had to make the move.
Nadeau in the 25, not feeling well today. He's under the weather with a cold. He's going to have to be behind the wheel working hard for a long, long time. We'll see how that cold affects him.
Yeah, I'll bet he's feeling okay now.
Yeah.
He's not feeling the ill effects, but I'm sure that he's going to not pay attention to it much. Look at Earnhardt moving up. Outside line around Dick Trickle. Earnhardt up to 34th spot. New leader, Jerry Nadeau. You caught a glimpse of that just before we took a peek at Earnhardt. Nadeau to the point. Third different leader already in just 3 laps of this race.
Boy, and Ricky Rudd making a power move on the inside. That black car trying to take over third spot from Jeff Gordon. He's been strong all week long. Didn't even hardly practice in happy hour yesterday. Said the car's the best he's ever had at Charlotte.
We're over the cold tires thing now, right? 4 laps in.
Yeah, and you can tell they're racing very hard side by side. And Bobby Labonte right now seems to have a car up for the challenge today, not losing any ground to our leader, Jerry Nadeau.
We peeked in on Dale Earnhardt. Let's peek in on Jeff Burton and check his progress. Burton's only moved up 1 spot so far. Started 38, he's up to 37, but it's early. Talked to his crew chief, Frank Stoddard, this morning. He feels they've got a horse they can ride all the way to the front into the top 5.
And that car you saw way back there with Darrell Waltrip, he's got to feel this car out. He crashed just today in practice right at the end of happy hour. The new car does not know how it's going to drive, so he has to feel it out and drop behind the pace of the rest of the cars here.
I love that camera angle. You really get a feel for the banking and what those drivers are leaning on and how quickly they go through the corners here at Charlotte.
And how close they come to the wall coming off the corners, and those cars are sliding. Not that they're steering that close to the wall.
Trouble,
there's the car in the wall.
Somebody in the wall. Mike Bliss, I believe it is. It is Bliss off turn 4. Caution is out.
That's the second time this week that he's crashed nearly in the same spot through turns 3 and 4.
Looks like Hutch Strickland got a piece of it as well as he comes down the pit lane with the left front torn up on his car. He's on the gas, just going to go straight through and try and stay on the lead lap, let the pace car pick up the field.
Terry Labonte was involved as well.
So caution is out, 5 laps in. It'll be 6 laps. Actually, it is 6 laps now as Nadeau comes to the stripe. There's the Labonte machine. Wonder if Labonte and Strickland got together in the aftermath.
Well, they got together while it was going on, coming off the 4th turn. That was just part of it.
Bliss started in 30th position. Strickland started in 36th. And Terry Labonte started in 40th. And a little piece of left rear fender damage on Steve Park's car also. So 4 cars involved in the accident that puts us under caution for the first time. Well, we told you about TBS No Brakes Racing. We'll do it right now. It's TBS No Brakes Racing continuing. Back at Charlotte, TBS No Brakes Racing continues under caution for the first time. 8 laps now into the 334 in today's UAW-GM Quality 500s. Take another look at what happened, or take a look at what happened to put us under the caution from Dale Earnhardt's in-car camera.
Okay, right here, that's Andy Houston, and he gets into the back of Bliss there. As they start off the corner, he goes up the racetrack into the outside wall, spins around, and some other cars were collected as he came down the racetrack.
Terry Labonte and Steve Park, the other 2 involved. Now the aftermath. Watch Park there, just on the right of your screen. It's just out of the frame.
Everybody's locking the brakes up, and it was a chain reaction. Several cars got together. Not any major damage to them, but some damage.
There's Andy Houston making his 2nd Winston Cup start. Just got a Charlotte lesson. Some pit stops. You see Brett Bodine, Kenny Wallace, Darrell Waltrip, Kurt Busch on pit lane. Matt Kenseth has also been in under this caution flag. Jerry Nadeau is the early leader at Charlotte. Back at Charlotte, still under caution after the 4-car accident off of turn 4 at lap number 7 involving Mike Bliss, Hut Strickland, Terry Labonte, and Steve Park. Hey, Tuesday night, October 31st at 7 p.m., it's the NBA on TBS. Doubleheader action kicks off with the Sixers heading to New York to take on the Knicks. Then it's the Trailblazers hosting the defending champion Lakers. It all starts with NBA Tip-Off 2000, October 31st on TBS. Bobby Labonte, the championship leader, running second under the caution as we're 1 lap away from the restart. Marty Snyder.
Well, and Buddy Baker hit it right on the head. That was a prearranged deal on the first lap for Jeff Gordon and Jerry Nadeau to pull over, let Bobby Labonte take the lead for at least 1 lap. Labonte did lead that lap and got us 5 bonus points. Now, Labonte said about the cold weather, the only effect is that the air pressures in the tires, they start on low air pressures, aren't building up as fast as they normally would, so he's a little bit looser than he would like, but that's the only effect right now of the cold temperatures. It takes a while for the air pressure in the tires to build up.
All right, 1 for Baker. Under the caution flag, Strickland, Kenny Wallace, Darrell Waltrip, Matt Kenseth, Steve Park, Terry Labonte, Ted Musgrave, Brett Bodine, Kurt Busch. Those cars all made pit stops. Mike Bliss's car, the only one that's gone to the garage as we get set for a restart this time by. Hood was up on the Kenny Wallace machine. And he's still on pit road now. Let's go to Mike Massaro.
And Mike Bliss has just come out of the care center. First off, Mike, what happened?
Well, it just it got a little bit loose, and then it turned right real fast. I don't know what happened. Car was pretty dang good to start, and I don't know. It shouldn't have did what it did because it wasn't handling that bad.
Mike Bliss took a pretty hard lick, but he said he's okay, guys.
Now Mike will see that replay, and he'll have a better idea of what happened. We are back under the green flag. Jerry Nadeau is the leader. You know, one thing we didn't talk about in that wreck is that was right in the vicinity of where Dale Earnhardt was running. Didn't see him have to thrash particularly hard to get through it, but, you know, it happened. We looked at the replay from his in-car, so championship luck, Buddy, you talked about at the top of the show. He was lucky there.
Yes, you have to have it, and he went low. I watched him come through there. He went to the low side, Bliss went up, and by the time he got by, everything was clear where he was at.
Earnhardt can smell that kind of stuff, though. He is incredibly good at staying out of trouble. That's one way a fella can become a 7-time Winston Cup champion. Don't wreck the car.
Reed trying to put a little space on 4th place Ricky Rudd.
Don't go there. I was just watching him go through there, and just for a second there, 28 car looked like it was a little bit loose off the corner, but he held it right back.
Watching Jerry Nadeau on the lead here. Nadeau in the spring race here in May led 115 laps. That's more than half the laps. Look at this. Look at this.
What that was bump drafting there. Rusty Wallace got behind the 20 car there of Tony Stewart and actually pushed him by.
Well, Rusty's got a much faster car than would be indicated by his starting position. He bottomed out in his time trial, wound up as a result of that starting in 22nd spot, but he has been fast in all the practice sessions. He is working his way toward the front in that number 2 car.
Stewart running in 16th position. And Rusty Wallace right behind him in 17th, drop-kicking Mark Martin back to the 18th spot.
I'm telling you about Jerry Nadeau and the laps he led back here in May. That's more than half the laps the guy has led in his entire career. This morning, Tony Furr's crew chief said this car is even better than the one he had in May.
I'm just amazed that the 25 car Jerry Nadeau's is running so well. He crashed that car in practice here the other day. They had to work their day off, which was Saturday, half a day on the car before they could get on the racetrack to straighten the right side, get everything going. They changed several running parts of the car, and he's out here leading the race. That just tells you they can repair these cars and put them back out there because the right side was completely flat on that car.
And aerodynamics are so important on these machines these days. They must have done a terrific job to get it back in line. Here's Jimmy Spencer running in 5th position now. Spencer, here's another driver that really needs something good to happen for him. Dale Jarrett, Jeremy Mayfield closing in. This is the ride with Jarrett.
good shot to let you know how close you get to the turn wall as you come off. You see him getting passed by Jerry Mayfield as they head down into turn 1.
Mayfield's moving up quick.
Jeremy's car was completely apart in the garage this morning. They had the upper A-frame, lower A-frame, all the steering arms were off that thing. Said in the very last practice session yesterday, he felt that something in the front end wasn't quite right, maybe something loose, so they took everything off this morning, replaced it just to be sure that he'd have no reliability problems.
Here comes Johnny Benson. And there is Kenny Wallace back on the Speedway. He is 1 lap down to the race leader in 41st position. Mike Massaro can add for us.
Well, Alan, Dick Bergeron just talked about reliability problems. One team that has had a problem there has been the 55 car of Kenny Wallace. Yesterday during happy hour, they replaced an engine after only 6 laps of practice. More engine problems already this afternoon. They reported that the engine was missing. They pitted twice under that last caution. Apparent ignition problems, a loose wire there. They seem to have fixed it under caution. We'll have to pay attention to that as this race wears on.
Well, they got another problem, too, and that is debris on the grill of that race car.
Yeah, see it? Hot dog paper there across the front of it.
Big hot dog, if so.
The grill openings are not big on these cars. That could lead to overheating very quickly. You're watching No Brakes Racing on TBS from Charlotte. Special thanks to most of our sponsors who have allowed us to cover today's race with our TBS No Brakes coverage. And you can log on to TBS Superstation or call us at 1-888-722-1635 and let us know your opinion of our TBS No Brakes coverage. 25 of 334 laps are complete. Jerry Nadeau is the leader. Third different leader of the event. Bobby Labonte led lap 1, Jeff Gordon lap 2, Nadeau from lap 3 to where we are now. Here's Dale Earnhardt really on the charge. Up to 22nd position from 37th starting spot.
And he's taken just a little bit different line than he started out. He was running around the bottom part of the racetrack in the corners. Now he's letting the car move up the racetrack a little bit. And that's the one thing Dale Earnhardt will do. He'll search for a place that he can make the best time around the racetrack. Mark Martin in front of him, it seems to be dropping back quite a bit, though.
Mark started in 8th position. He's in 20th spot now. Ken Schrader there in that purple car also falling back some. He started, I shouldn't say falling back some, he's actually only just going to lose 1 position from where he started. But Schrader and company thought they were really good in happy hour yesterday.
Yeah, they did. Sammy Johns this morning said this was one of the 2 best cars he's had all year long, and they're certainly surprised in Mark Martin's pit that he's running as poorly as he is. Rough ride last week in Virginia for Mark, finished in 18th spot. That is incredibly uncharacteristic, particularly uncharacteristic to see him run poorly here at Lowe's Motor Speedway. Take an engine DNF out in 94. His worst finish in this race in the last 8 years was 4th.
Watching the leader, Jerry Nadeau. Moving up, sliding back. Jeff Burton up to 24th spot. Steve Park has picked up 7 positions. Rusty Wallace 6. And we documented Dale Earnhardt's rise through the pack. Sliding back. Jeff Fuller, Ken Schrader. Dale Jarrett has fallen to 12th spot, and Robbie Gordon. Got an onboard camera with Robert Presley in the Jasper machine today. We've also got some telemetry with him. Have a look at it as he blasts around this Charlotte mile and a half.
8,800, 9,000 just before he dives into turn 1 there. That's asking a lot out of a racing motor. When you think of all the moving parts in there, asking it to turn 9,000 RPMs down the straightaway. Top speed probably somewhere around 190. I thought 193 just before he got out the throttle on the back straightaway. Front straightaway a little quicker.
Look at Robert Presley at work right now. He'll be back in this same ride again next year. Been a good year for Robert Presley and Ryan Pemberton, his crew chief.
Progress, not as fast as they'd like it to be, but progress.
Well, they want to win immediately, but by the same token, it takes little steps to make that kind of progress.
And Presley running in the 14th position, about to take 13th away from Bobby Hamilton. There's the leader, Jerry Nadeau. Pretty good race going on behind him for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Ricky Rudd in 3rd, Jeff Gordon in 4th, and Jeremy Mayfield, the man on the move in that group, started 10th. He is 5th now and trying to get more. There's Mayfield. And Dave Blaney with an unscheduled pit stop. Lap 31. And the leaders have overtaken Darrell Waltrip to put him a lap down. Kenny Wallace has been overtaken and put a lap down as well. It's No Brakes Racing from Charlotte on Superstation TBS.
Budweiser, the official beer of NASCAR, presents the Bud Pole Award. Almost everyone remembers Dale Earnhardt Jr. electrifying the crowd at Lowe's Motor Speedway back in May, setting a new track record while winning the Bud Pole and qualifying for the Coca-Cola 600. But who has won the most poles at Charlotte? Active drivers such as Ken Schrader, Mark Martin, and Bobby Labonte have all won more than one Bud Pole Award at Lowe's Motor Speedway. Cale Yarborough and Charlie Glotzbach have each won the pole 4 times at Charlotte, along with Bill Elliott. Jeff Gordon has had incredible success on the 1.5-mile track, winning the Bud Pole Award an amazing 6 times in recent years, but he doesn't have the most. That distinction goes to South Carolina native David Pearson. The Silver Fox had a run that might not be duplicated at any track. From the fall race in 1973 to the fall of 1978, Pearson won the Bud Pole for every Winston Cup race run at Charlotte, 11 in a row, and he had a total of 14 poles at Charlotte in his career.
And we're back, Lowe's Motor Speedway at Charlotte. The UAW-GM Quality 500 under caution, second time, waved at lap number 34. Debris in turn 4 was the reason. And all the leaders have been on pit road for stops. Bobby Labonte has come out with the lead. Here is, will be a look at the pit stops. There's the triple box. Nadeau, Labonte, and Rudd, who were the top 3 going in.
Nadeau took an air pressure change in the left rear by 1 pound, left front by 1/2 pound to try to loosen the car up a little bit, just a tad tight on that number 25 that's been leading.
Labonte barely squeezes out in front of Ricky Rudd to hold the lead there. Good job by Rudd's crew to get him up to second.
Yeah, and you could see him coming in. It looked like Bobby Labonte was a lot later getting to his pit box. That's the reason for that is he's further down pit road. That's why he beat him back out of pit road. He had a little more time, got right out in front of everyone.
Dale Earnhardt with a little piece of garbage on the grill there that he has picked up from somewhere. And Earnhardt coming off of pit lane in 25th position after starting back in 37th spot. Second caution of the UAW-GM Quality 500 at Charlotte. Another pit stop for Mark Martin under the yellow. Back at Charlotte, less than half a lap away from the restart in the UAW-GM Quality 500. Some updates. Mark Martin with an extra pit stop. We showed you there as we went to the break. Here is Johnny Benson, who's now at the back of the field. He was running in 10th position off of pit road, speeding, leaving the pit lane. He goes to the back of the line. Jimmy Spencer, ditto for him. Penalized for speeding, exiting pit road. He goes to the back of the line for the restart. Mark Martin, after that extra pit stop, is back in 35th position. Bobby Labonte's crew gets him off pit road first. We're back racing again once more.
How many times this year Bobby Labonte said, look at this though, on the bottom, Ricky Rudd. I'll say how many times this year Bobby Labonte's pit crew has gotten him off pit road first if he wins this championship. He better do something nice for those guys. They have done a lot nice for him this year.
You know, that could have just been a case of Labonte in championship mode being a little more conservative on the cold tires.
I think so, and what he's doing is waiting for the pressures to get up to maximum where the car handles well. He's already complained that he didn't like the feel of the car on fresh tires, so look for him to come right on back.
6th leader of the day is Ricky Rudd. Labonte second. The 93 car of Blaney you see there is not on the lead lap. Here's Dale Earnhardt trying to charge up. He's in 10th position already after the restart. Mike Massaro has more on Dale Earnhardt's pit stop a minute ago.
And Alan, Dale Earnhardt came down pit road complaining the car was a little bit tight off the corner. They tried to free it up a little bit with an air pressure adjustment, 4 tires and fuel. But we also need to give a call to the Steve Park team. They came in 30th, picked up 24 positions on pit road because they only took 2 tires. You see them now scrambling up in the top 10. And 2 tires, no adjustments for Steve Park.
Park in 6th position, new leader, Bobby Labonte, while we were watching Dale Earnhardt, has just gone by, retaken the top spot. The Napa Field summary, updating each lap as the cars cross the start-finish line. Labonte, Rudd, Mayfield, and Rusty Wallace now moving up into 4th position.
Boy, that's fast company right there. Jeremy Mayfield, Rusty Wallace, teammates, out front right now. Bobby Labonte waited on those tires to build the air pressure up. He's back under full song, but he's going to have a lot of pressure here. You can see Jerry Nadeau just behind there, getting very restless, trying to make a move back to the front.
Mayfield, the man on the charge for the moment. Rudd going to slip back possibly as far as 6th, maybe 7th before he'll get a hole in line. How about the call on Steve Park's crew for 2 tires on the early stop?
Well, that'll be interesting to see how that works out, because this particular tire combination historically has meant that you really don't want to do that. There's a lot of give up in these tires. In fact, in that first run, they lost about 5 miles an hour. So we'll see if it works for Park.
Park crashed in the final moments of happy hour yesterday when he ran over something on the track, hit the outside wall with the right side of his car. The crew repaired the machine rather than pull out the backup car. Started 39th. He's up to 6th now. Here comes Mayfield for the lead.
Not much of a contest there, but I know that Bobby Labonte right now does not worry about contest. You can see the car equally as fast as Mayfield once he got back in the throttle there, holding right on to the back of the car, down the back straightaway. Rusty Wallace moving in now. These guys are really flying around this racetrack.
Here's Wallace for 2nd. Bobby running that high line to let him go.
He doesn't need to mess with those guys. Neither Mayfield nor Wallace have got any shot at all at the championship. Just let them go. Let them go.
And lest anybody accuse Bobby Labonte with his point lead of the old racing term of stroking, there's a difference between stroking and racing smart.
Yeah, and this is racing smart.
Yeah.
Labonte has been on the gas all year long, and he has also raced smart all year long. That's why he's where he is right now.
I can add to that. Running 3rd place in a 500-mile race like Winston Cup with the people out there, there's no such thing as taking it easy. He's driving very hard, but he's being careful with his equipment, what he's doing.
Still got 289 laps to go. No sense pressing hard. Lead change. Rusty Wallace around Mayfield in turn 1.
Told you he was going to be fast today. I promised it.
I think that's a simple thing. Let's see what you have. Jeremy Mayfield right there. They know Jerry Nadeau, one of the fastest cars in the field today, is sitting there in 4th place right now, trying to make a move on Bobby Labonte.
Oh, look out. Look out. That's a case where Labonte's spotter's got to be on his toes, talking about racing smart, making sure he knows what's going on in those blind spots around the car. You just cannot see. You see the rearview mirror up there, kind of partially hidden by the graphic, but you just cannot see very well out of one of these race cars to the sides and the back. There you go.
There's a blind spot there. Frankenstein said, I'm going to turn my head, too. I don't like what's going on. I'm going to look inside the car. It's a little rough outside. But this mirror runs almost all the way across, but as you said, you cannot see on the quarter panel of these race cars.
Lead change again. Mayfield back by Wallace. Maybe not for long. Now Rusty's going to have to tuck in. Let's go to Mike Hogwood.
Well, Jeremy Mayfield was doing his teammate a favor with some 5 points for the leading a lap there. Jeremy says the car is absolutely great. His biggest fear today, sunshine. He wants to see none of it.
Here comes Nadeau on the charge, back toward the front.
Well, I know one thing he's going to see. If he wants sunshine, he's going to see it pretty quick here. That 25 car is shining right now as far as the way he gets around the racetrack and able to make a move on the outside. I can't tell you how difficult that is here at Charlotte. You can see, though, that he hasn't made the pass yet because Rusty is in the fastest line, the bottom part of the racetrack. They do the power style, though, on the outside.
What is he doing moving over like that? Is he just trying to pinch Rusty's line off going into 3? See when they come down the back straightaway,
he's just playing running that hard. I mean, Nadeau is hard on the gas right now.
And he probably knows if he waits around too long, that 12 car, Jeremy Mayfield, was quickest yesterday in happy hour. He needs to put some heat on it.
Here comes Gordon and Earnhardt. Earnhardt up to 8th spot now. Charging from the back.
That first corner there on Steve Park's car was hurt a little earlier. He got loose there.
3 wide.
That is big loose.
Yeah.
Rudd by. And Earnhardt now up to 6th position from 37th starting spot. By the way, Jeff Burton, the other title contender that was starting in the back, is up to 12th spot now, so he's having a good one. And here goes Nadeau, still fighting with Wallace for the runner-up spot.
He's running very high on the racetrack. Had that car dialed in low a while ago. Nadeau now fighting that car a little bit and moving up the racetrack. And that usually indicates that the handling's going away just a little bit.
Jeremy Mayfield leads, 51 laps complete, 283 to go. No Brakes Racing from Charlotte continues on TBS. Special thanks to those sponsors who have allowed us to cover today's race. With our TBS No Brakes coverage, you can log on to TBSSuperstation.com or call us at 1-888-722-1635. That's a toll-free number. Let us know your opinion of our TBS No Brakes coverage. We're very interested in what you have to say. 56 laps complete as we look down on Jeremy Mayfield, the leader of the UAW-GM Quality 500. Rusty Wallace in second, dipping a little farther back. There's the interval to Mayfield, from Mayfield rather, the leader, to Jerry Nadeau and Bobby Labonte, who run third and fourth. And there's Ward Burton, who runs fifth. The sixth car in line is Dale Earnhardt, just to the right side of your screen. That's all right, dipping in and out of the frame there as we look down from the helicopter. Never figured out how they keep that thing steady from up there anyway. Ricky Rudd is seventh, Jeff Gordon eighth, Steve Park is ninth, and Jeff Burton has moved up to the 10th position. Here's Dale Jarrett, championship contender, running in 11th spot. He started in 5th position. And I spent some time with DJ this morning. He said he did not think they would be good in a short run. 30 laps and under, he would lose positions. From lap 30 to lap 65, the end of the fuel window, they will start coming to the front, according to him.
Well, historically, this team does not do as well in short runs as they do in long runs. Brad Parrott, who sets up, or Todd Parrott, rather, who sets this car up, does it for long runs. We watched number 24, Jeff Gordon, now picking up a spot. He's in 7th.
But for Jarrett, that is their style. And here's a challenge for the lead. Rusty Wallace gets it from Jeremy Mayfield. That is already the 12th lead change of this thing in 59 laps. Terrific.
And I know they know that just behind there, that black car of Earnhardt's is on the move.
Yeah.
And they're telling them. The spotters will call you and they'll say Earnhardt's on his way. And he just is handling perfect right now. Car right on the bottom of the racetrack. And it won't be long before he's up there contending.
Third spot. Whoa, creasing out of the throttle there was Bobby Labonte.
And Jerry Nadeau's having trouble with his car. He's just radioed into his crew and told them that the car is loose. The set of tires they just threw on it is not handling as well as what they'd had before.
In place, Ward Burton.
See Ward Burton right there coming off down the back straightaway. The 22 car there of Ward Burton is also right up in the front of this bunch. And you can see him right now. He's able to keep that car low. That's a good handling race car. Where Nadeau is at, that blue car on the high side, not good.
Now Ward in the yellow 22 has been good since they got here.
Don't forget, you can log on to TBSSuperstation.com during today's race and get a bird's eye view from the driver's perspective with in-car camera action. If Bobby Labonte's your favorite, got a camera on board his car, check it out only at TBSSuperstation.com. Race for third spot continues to rage on. Labonte low, Nadeau high. Give it back to Labonte. Won't be long before Ward Burton tries Jerry Nadeau for that position. Championship contenders, we continue to check their progress. You see where they're running. Earnhardt and Burton particularly impressive after starting way back in 37th and 38th positions, respectively. 62 of 334 laps are complete. We're still very early in the UAW-GM Quality 500 at Charlotte. It is Rusty Wallace who's the leader. 12 lead changes already in the first 100 miles of the UAW-GM Quality 500. Rusty Wallace, the most recent driver out in front, took the lead from Jeremy Mayfield at lap 59. Check this out. 2 laps ago while we were away in the break, Earnhardt 3 wide on Ward Burton and Nadeau for the 4th spot.
What you've just seen was impossible, believe me.
How do you think? Da-da-da, I'm on a charge here. You want to ride with him and see what it's like? Watch this.
Check this out.
Man. And that's from a guy in 2nd place in the national point standing, but just in front of this group, Bobby Labonte, and he's after him.
I don't ever want to hear anyone suggest, after watching that that at 49 years old, Dale Earnhardt has lost his nerve.
No, he's
not
just,
me, I can
he's
tell
just
you.
as good and just as brave
You know?
as when he was 25.
Let's go to Mike Massaro, who has more on Dale Earnhardt.
Well, Alan, it's truly a team effort over there with the 3 car. It's been a work in progress all weekend. The car had to take a provisional. They started 37th. They came out and practiced yesterday morning, determined to make that car better. It was a little bit loose. In afternoon practice, it was a little bit tight. They tightened it up and made it too loose, but they kept working on it. 4 new shocks, 4 new springs, played with the camber and the track bar, and when they walked away after happy hour yesterday, they were very happy. To quote Dale Earnhardt, he told Kevin Hamlin, his crew chief, the car is 100% better than it was during qualifying, and the proof is on the racetrack right now.
Bobby Labonte, Dale Earnhardt, Jeff Burton, and Dale Jarrett all in the top 10 for contenders for the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship. We saw Brett Bodine being overtaken by Labonte there. Bodine in 37th spot, now a lap down. Ted Musgrave's a lap down. Kenny Wallace is a lap down. Dave Blaney made an unscheduled pit stop earlier under the green flag. He's 2 laps down. Darrell Waltrip is 2 laps down. Huck Strickland is 14 laps down after repairs from the crash damage earlier. Mike Bliss is in the garage and out after completing just 5 laps. Rusty Wallace leads. 71 laps complete, 263 to go. We'll come back to Charlotte with more in just a moment here on TBS.
The UAW-GM Quality 500 on the Superstation is brought to you by Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. By Circuit City, the official electronics and appliance store of NASCAR. By Haviland Extended Life Antifreeze. Add more life to your car. And by Aaron's Sells and Lease Ownership for Less. Racing to save you money.
Ken Squire back with you here at Lowe's Motor Speedway, taking a look at a race summary through the first 100 miles. Rusty Wallace, the current leader, but they've swapped that lead among 12 different drivers thus far. There have been 2 caution periods that have slowed this race down, hold it back to 138 miles an hour. And we've only had 1 car drop out over the first 100 miles of competition. Rusty Wallace continuing at the front. Winner back in the 80s, trying to do it again. And right behind him, that guy that's #1 in the Winston Cup points, Bobby Labonte, giving it his all in his 500-mile test on TBS. And here comes Wallace on the pit road. Let's go to Alan Bestrick for the call.
This would certainly be unscheduled. Lap 77, the leader is in. He was just in at lap 35. So something's gone wrong for Rusty Wallace while he was in the race lead. Marty Snyder.
And they think it is the right front tire, Alan. All Wallace said is, I have a vibration. Then he said, I'm coming down pit road. Get ready. And they came in very quickly. So this was totally unscheduled for Rusty Wallace, who was in the lead. They're going to go to the right side, and they're going to change the left side tires as well. They're not sure which tire it is. Rusty speculated on the radio, but he thought it might be the right front. And there he's down and away.
And while Rusty was on pit road, the lead has changed hands, and the fans in Charlotte are on their feet. Dale Earnhardt has taken the top spot just over 100 miles in the race after starting in 37th position.
And he better go like crazy, because just behind him there in 3rd place right now, Burton has turned it up. Jeff Burton is flying up through the field.
Jeff Burton started 38, so the 2 title contenders that were way in the back are going to take the top 2 spots at lap number 80. Impressive.
This is amazing. It really is. You wonder why Winston Cup racing is a popular sport. You're watching it today. This is fun. See a couple of guys come out of the back like that, get themselves all the way up to the front. Earnhardt charging all afternoon here at Lowe's Motor Speedway.
He does not have the car to hold off Burton, though.
May not have the lead for long. Here is Burton down low, start-finish line.
Look at Earnhardt's hand out the window, telling him, go ahead, take the bottom if you want.
Yeah, right.
He just waved him on by.
He could see him coming. They had nothing to do with the bonnet. He would look back and watch him close. Sheridan Mayfield on pit road now.
Mayfield was the leader a minute ago when Rusty Wallace gave up the top spot for a pit stop. Now Mayfield is in. This would be early, too. Lap 81 for Mayfield. Something not right on the 2 team cars there as they both come in early. Wonder if Mayfield's team saw something on Rusty Wallace's tires that they didn't like. Look at this long stop, too. Front tire problem there. there forever. Let's mention that Rusty Wallace has come out in 35th position, and he is a lap down to the race leader. And Mayfield is going to be a lap down as well. That's tough. There's Rusty. So Jeff Burton has come to the point from 38th starting spot. 3 of the top 4 contenders for the championship in the top 3 spots. The other one, Dale Jarrett, is running in 6th position.
I would love to know how many races Jeff Burton has won from 37th, 38th, 35th back. It just seems like he has them where he wants them when he qualifies that far back.
Earnhardt losing another spot. He's having trouble keeping that black number 3 car on the bottom of the racetrack.
Hut Strickland has just taken his car to the garage and called it a day. Vibration. He was involved in the accident back at lap 7 with Mike Bliss, Terry Labonte, and Steve Park off turn 4. Hope we get a follow-up report from the Rusty Wallace pit here in a minute about why they came in early and what they found on that car. Same thing from the Jeremy Mayfield pit. Let's mention that Sterling Marlin is on pit road with the hood up on his car now. And Ted Musgrave made a green flag pit stop a little while ago. Brett Bodine has just gone to the garage. So cars encountering problems here early. There's Brett turning his machine in behind the wall. What are they after there? Big lead for Jeff Burton.
Yeah, you see that car right on that white line, and he does that. He never worries about qualifying. He sets his car up all week long for the big event, and if he has to start a provisional, he never worries about it.
Rusty Wallace, after the unscheduled pit stop a minute ago, 34th position, 1 lap down. Let's get that follow-up report from Marty.
The problem was the left rear tire. The reason Rusty thought it was the right front, the left rear and right front show the same characteristics. There is the little hole. It was a cut in Rusty Wallace's left front that caused him to lose the lead. When they came in and checked the pressure, it was down to 12 pounds. Normally, at this point in the run, it would be up to 35 pounds, and we have caution on the racetrack.
Kenny Wallace in trouble in turn 3. He has just popped the outside wall. He will come up on his car with Tony Stewart here. Look for Wallace's slow machine up on the high side. Right, coming around there. There he is. Been a bad weekend for Herman. 3rd caution of the race. Lap number 87. It waves. And that is a very terrible break for Rusty Wallace and Jeremy Mayfield because it will pin them 1 lap down.
But a good one for Dale Earnhardt, who is having a problem with his right front. They're not sure what's wrong with the car, but he has just reported he is having a vibration in the right front of that car.
Looking at that on Kenny Wallace's car, he is hit hard with the right front. I wonder if he had something go down. Well, let's flash back here. A couple of races ago to Dover, Delaware, we had a situation where cars started losing right front tires. We just saw Rusty Wallace, although that was a left rear, right, on Rusty's car.
Yeah, and it was definitely cut too, though.
Yeah, hadn't got the follow-up on the Jeremy Mayfield problem yet, but he came down pit road shortly thereafter. Now Dale Earnhardt reporting a problem, so I wonder if somebody was out there just dropping stuff.
Yeah, that's that, or Dale Earnhardt did lean on that car pretty hard trying to get those 5 bonus points, and once he got them, he kind of eased off the throttle a little bit, and characteristics in the car will change really drastic when you get off the throttle a little.
Don't know. Hard to say if they're all connected in any way or not. Might just be some random things happening all at the same time. Pit stops. Lap 88. Mike Massaro.
Well, Dick Berggren hit it right on the head. Dale Earnhardt had radioed in just a lap before the caution came out that there's a vibration in the car. A right front tire perhaps going down. The team already over the wall, making a 4-tire change, putting in 2 cans of 76 racing fuel, no adjustments. Earnhardt now down and away after they changed the tire, but a huge break is what this caution was for the 3-car to Marty Snyder.
Bobby Labonte is in. He was running second when he came down pit road. He said, I don't know what to do to the car. It's good, but I'm losing time. I just don't know where I'm losing time. He will lose the race off pit road after 4 tires and no adjustments.
Earnhardt gets out first. Listen to the crowd. If you've never been to a race here at Charlotte before, this is Dale Earnhardt country. He is a local hero. He grew up in Kannapolis, which is the next town north. This is his country. These are his people. This is a Dale Earnhardt home crowd. Look at
that. I tell you what, everybody in this grandstand, one way or another, is an Earnhardt fan. Won this race 14 years ago, won it 20 years ago in 1980.
And I can't wait to see that right front later on.
Earnhardt leads off pit road. We'll have the restart for you when we come back to Charlotte after this on TBS. We are back, Lowe's Motor Speedway, Charlotte. The UAW-GM Quality 500 at lap 90 of 334. Dale Earnhardt wins the race off of pit road. Jerry Nadeau has been a contender for the entirety of this race, but he got caught for speeding leaving pit road. On the stops, he has to go to the back of the line, so he's come back down pit road for a little further attention to his crew while he drops toward the end of the field. Now, just before the caution, we reported the radio traffic between Dale Earnhardt and pit road that he thought he had a problem with his car. Mike Massaro has a follow-up for us.
And Alan, it was a tire concern. A right front tire going down on the 3 car was actually shredded towards the sidewall. So much concern down here on pit road that Andy Petrie came down and was conferring with Richard Childress. We've got him now. Richard, what's your interpretation of what happened?
Well, we don't know if the air pressure was a little low. We went up a little on the air pressure, and we're going to see. We just had a little vibration with that right front tire.
What was Andy saying, Andy Petrie?
Well, I think they had the same problem with theirs, and that's what happened to the 55 car.
So there is some concern down here on pit road, guys.
Air pressure is a critical variable here. Goodyear has told the teams not to run less than 44 pounds to start. Now realize these tires pick up an extraordinary amount of pressure as they heat up, as much as 20 pounds over what they start at. And a little less air pressure at the building at the beginning of a tire run can help a car run better through the run.
This caution brought out when Kenny Wallace hit the wall in turn 3. He has taken his car to the garage. There's a story developing on Darrell Waltrip as well. That when we come back in a minute. Special thanks to most of our sponsors who've allowed us to cover the race with our TBS No Brakes coverage. Let us know what you think about it by calling 1-888-722-1635, logging on to tbssuperstation.com. Joe Gibbs looking on as his championship contender. Bobby Labonte runs third, and his other contender trying for the three-peat here today. Tony Stewart runs in 7 spots. Stewart, winner of the most recent 2 NASCAR Winston Cup races in Dover, Delaware 2 weeks ago, and Martinsville, Virginia last Sunday. Bobby Labonte behind Jeff Burton, the second-place runner there with his new sponsor colors this week, and Dale Earnhardt, the race leader. Jeremy Mayfield there, going to stay and try and get on the tail end of the lead lap on a caution restart here. He stayed out under this yellow flag. Earnhardt, of course, one of the 4 contenders to win the NASCAR Winston Cup Series Championship. For the year, it has been an up-and-down season for Dale Earnhardt. The year started off pretty darn good with one of the more exciting finishes of 2000 so far. It was Atlanta in March. Final corner, Earnhardt holding off Bobby Labonte by that much to score the victory. But his season turned kind of sour in late summer. This is Watkins Glen, early August. Lap 2, Earnhardt into the outside wall. A bad finish cost him points. Just a couple of weeks earlier, Pocono, Pennsylvania, live on TBS, running well, late going. A flat right front tire damaged his car. Another bad finish. Earnhardt has tried to rebound after another poor run at Dover a couple of weeks ago, where he just fell off the map in the final 50 laps of the race by running second at Martinsville to Tony Stewart last Sunday. And Dale Earnhardt comes into this race 213 points behind Bobby Labonte, trying to claim a record 8th NASCAR Winston Cup Series championship. Now, a moment ago on pit road, I mentioned before we went to the break that there was a story developing on Darrell Waltrip. This was seconds ago. Darrell Waltrip has climbed out of the car. That is Todd Bodine, next year's driver for this machine, although I don't think they've actually officially announced that yet, getting into the machine. Mike Massaro is with Darrell Waltrip to find out what's going on.
And Alan, you're exactly right. Todd Bodine has taken over the big Kmart ride. And Darrell Waltrip, why'd you get out?
Well, when I crashed yesterday, I hurt my shoulder, and I thought I was all right. I took a couple of goodies this morning, and I felt pretty good, but my hand keeps going to sleep. And I wasn't comfortable in the car, and this was a good opportunity to get out and let Todd get in. So I felt like I better take advantage of that now, not maybe do it under green or something. The way it turned out, he didn't fit in there very well. So that hour yesterday just turned my whole weekend upside down. Nothing's been right since, and it's unfortunate, but it's the way it is.
And certainly not the way DW would like to end his career here in Charlotte. To Mike Hogwood.
And we're with Kenny Wallace back in the garage. Kenny, what put you back here?
Well, you know, just simply put, we've got a problem with our tires here. Obviously, you can see, you know, everybody's pitting. I didn't get lucky. I blew mine going into the corner and, you know, put the car in the wall.
Can you tell us what was said in the drivers' meeting by Goodyear?
Well, Goodyear's been great through all this. You know, they know they've got a problem, and we got the president of Goodyear here. And NASCAR and them had a great meeting this morning. Just told us we were going to work through this problem. And, hey, you know, I'm right behind them. Goodyear's an awesome tire company. We're having some problems. I'm real happy I didn't get hurt. I went into it head on.
Kenny Wallace, Alan.
Getting ready for the restart. The two cars in front of Dale Earnhardt are on the tail end of the lead lap. Jeremy Mayfield running back in 34th position. Rusty Wallace in 35th. They were both running in the top 2 spots earlier when they pitted under the green with tires going down. Green flag. Now what these two guys need is to stay in front of Earnhardt and catch a caution here quickly somewhere to get back on the lead lap and back in the hunt.
What everybody needs to do is take care of their tires until they build up some pressure. Earnhardt charging on the bottom by Mayfield.
Yeah, he's real worried about the right price. As he goes by Mayfield right on the bottom of the racetrack there. And I would say right now they probably went up on the air pressure a little bit there, trying to avoid maybe the tire being a little deflated there and getting too much grip right at the first.
Looking on from Bill Elliott's car.
Boy, that's a great shot. Look at the race cars right there in the rearview mirror.
Let's take a look at the field summary here. Lap 96, you see the running order in the upper left of your screen. The big story there, Earnhardt and Burton charging from 37th and 38th starting spots. From the first and third positions. Ricky Rudd led earlier, Jeff Gordon led earlier, Dale Jarrett has not. Tony Stewart, solid run, looking for the three-peat. Don't think we've called Junior's name all day. Steve Park took 2 tires on his first pit stop back at lap 35 to gain some track position after starting 39th in a car that was crashed in happy hour yesterday. Ward Burke was in the top 6 earlier. Johnny Benson penalized for speeding, leaving pit road. Back on the second set of stops in the race. Second or first? First set of stops for Benson. Mark Martin fell back early, has sinked his way back toward the front. Matt Kenseth made an early stop back at lap number 8 under the first caution.
You know, it's pretty easy to know when Dale Earnhardt's leading in the race. Just looking at the grandstands, and everybody was standing up for the first 5 laps after the restart.
Farther back in the field, as we get toward the tail end of our rundown, you'll see some cars that have had problems. You've got Brett Bodine back on the racetrack in 39th spot after being in the garage for a short while. He's 9 laps down. Sterling Marlin's had the hood up on his car on pit road. He's 12 laps down. Kenny Wallace, Hud Strickland, and Mike Bliss are in the garage and apparently done for the day. Here's Elliott Sadler in 28th position. Jerry Nadeau got caught speeding on pit road this past caution flag stop. He's trying to pick his way back up through the traffic. He led earlier.
Look at Elliott Sadler inside the cockpit there. You can see the wraparound seat up on the shoulders. A lot of the drivers are going to that where it just used to come around the rib cage. They're starting to use seats that have support on the shoulder itself.
And what you've got here is the first and second place cars separated by 2 lap machines. Dave Blaney is in 36th position, 2 laps down. Trying to get one of them back, and what you got here is a side-by-side race for 4th and 5th. Dale Jarrett trying to move up a spot and does.
On his teammate, yes. Roger Jarrett, her teammates, both come out of Robert Yates' garage.
Earnhardt, lap car of Blaney. Second place, Bobby Labonte. Lap car of Mayfield. Now Jeff Gordon up to 3rd.
Mayfield had gotten by Earnhardt. In fact, he had a pretty decent amount of space between himself and Earnhardt. Then Earnhardt just got a mind to it, passed him.
Tell you, Blaney's got a fast car here.
Yeah, he does. Had a good run yesterday in the Busch Series race as well. Finished 3rd yesterday.
We were just looking on board with him. Watch his right hand. We noticed this yesterday during the Busch Series race. It was the Busch Series race or happy hour. We got talking about this, buddy.
Okay.
Yeah, and he just moves his hand around. He's at much ease there. Bill Davis has always had a good car here. Dave Blaney does a great job in it.
Unlike some drivers, like you've seen Mark Martin, if you've seen a lot of his in-car cameras, where he steers the car with his right hand, an elbow, basically. Blaney's right hand, he just pulls the steering wheel through it with his left hand. Watch it.
Yeah, and down the straightaway, he actually laid it over on the leg restraint there, and he didn't use his right arm at all.
And Blaney's actually totally steering that car with his left hand.
Just left-handed. Wonder if that's a sprint car thing.
Yeah, don't try it on I-95.
Jeff Gordon being challenged for third by Jarrett and Rudd. Gordon going to lose 2 spots here as they come off the corner. Jeff Burton has slipped back to 6th position. Dale Earnhardt is the leader, just past the 1/3 point of our UAW-GM Quality 500 at Charlotte. Back at Charlotte, Dale Earnhardt leads the UAW-GM Quality 500, not by much. Bobby Labonte and Dale Jarrett right in his tire tracks.
And the incredible part, Dave Blaney got by the 3 car. He's actually leading this group around the racetrack right now.
Dave Blaney got 1 of 2 laps that he lost with an unscheduled stop earlier back. He's still back in 36th position. Now he's 1, almost 2 full laps down to leader Dale Earnhardt.
And we're seeing sunshine right now for the very first time all day. That will affect the handling on every race car out here. Some will run better, some will run more poorly.
Be interesting to follow that. You've heard about all the changes upcoming in the NASCAR television package for 2001. Next season, TBS and NBC kick off their NASCAR season. Pole qualifying from the Daytona International Speedway July 5th. Catch all the action on the Superstation. We're very excited about 2001 and look forward to bringing you lots and lots of NASCAR on TBS and NBC.
And I'm getting pretty excited with this car right here, Dale Jarrett. That car is absolutely getting around the racetrack extremely well right now. He's changed his line a little bit. Every once in a while he goes right up to the top part of the racetrack, but running very, very strong.
Remember, Mayfield is not on the lead lap. He's in 35th position. First car 1 lap down. Moving up, sliding back, Johnny Benson recovering from the penalty for speeding on pit road. Same for Spencer. Back to 10th and 15th positions. Mark Martin's made some progress. He made a second pit stop under a caution a while back. I don't know that we ever actually talked about it on the air, but they decided after leaving a lug nut off the car to come in and put a spring rubber in the right rear since they had to come back in anyway. So that's why he fell all the way back. And some sliding back, Jeremy Mayfield, Rusty Wallace, the green flag pit stops, while running in 2nd and 1st positions respectively earlier. Jerry Nadeau speeding on pit road, leaving pit lane on the most recent stop. Napa Field summary, upper left of your screen. See where your favorite driver's running. Let's tip the cap to Robert Presley. He's up to the 8th position. Terrific run for Robert as we continue to watch this fight for the lead between Earnhardt and Bobby Labonte. It's been a great race so far. 16 lead changes among 9 different drivers. 3 caution flags, a 4-car pileup at lap 7. Triggered when Mike Bliss got tapped by Andy Houston. We had debris at lap 34. Then at lap 87, Kenny Wallace cut down a right front tire and went into the outside wall in turn number 3. You've got Wallace in the garage area, Strickland in the garage area, and Bliss in the garage area. Strickland and Bliss from the earlier crash. And this race now going on for the 9th position as Jeff Gordon has lost a few spots here in the last short while.
Johnny Benson incredibly impressive in that number 10 car. He's finished 2nd twice so far this year, yet to win. A lot of people think maybe today. Here's the fight for the lead. You're saying something about Bobby Labonte stroking? I don't think so. Bobby Labonte leading the race by about a half a fender.
Yeah, and lest anyone be just tuning in, let's make sure they understand the point I was making. There's a difference between stroking and racing smart. Labonte's racing smart, and he's racing hard. This is for the lead at 115 of 334 laps with one of his rivals for the championship.
In the car just behind them there, Jeremy Mayfield trying to make up a lap, but Dale Jarrett moved right in on him round. That's 1st, right here, 2nd, and 3rd right back in there.
It is a cold day here in Charlotte. Temperature was 48 degrees at green flag time. Every one of these fans that's in the house today is on their feet, and they're not thinking a little bit about the cold right now. It's been a terrific show so far.
It's adrenaline. You know, you were talking about racing smart, Alan. There's just 2 guys in the top 40 who have finished every race so far this year, and they are Dale Earnhardt and Bobby Labonte in the 18, and that's smart when you can run that fast and finish every race. You're running fast and smart.
That's the Jeff Fuller car. The leader just went by, slow on the apron of turn 3. No power reported on that machine. Maybe lost the oil pressure. Labonte and Earnhardt trading the lead back and forth between them now for 3 straight laps. There's Jeff Fuller in. First race for the new McPherson Motorsports team. Hope to be a full-time effort next season.
Yeah, and the hood was going up on it. He pulled off coming off turn 2 just a lap before this and really just coasted in, so he's got a major problem with the motor.
Let's talk about Earnhardt here for a second. His mode of operating lately has been when he bolts on a fresh set of tires, he runs like a jackrabbit for a while, and then the farther into the set of tires he goes, he fades just a little bit. So the last time they pitted, all the leaders was at lap 88. We're at 118 now. 30 laps in, starting to see him slide around a little more than those first few laps.
And I think the other thing, they had to make some kind of adjustment because they did have a problem there with the right front. So the car is not exactly like it was when he came from the back of the field all the way to the front. I think right now they're probably talking to the crew chief. Right now, just follow Bobby Labonte. You're running very well. We'll make adjustments all the way through and hope we're right when it comes time.
What a pace.
That's always so good that you can do that. He's got a great car because he is able to keep up with the pace that Bobby Labonte set him.
See Dale Jarrett there just fading a little bit out of the frame. He's fallen back a couple of car lengths. There's Jarrett.
BJ's won this race twice as well.
Dale Jr. slipping a little bit back to 23rd position. Started in 13th. He's lost some ground here in these last few laps. This car not behaving as well as it did in yesterday's happy hour practice. Bobby Labonte leads. Dale Earnhardt, Dale Jarrett, Ricky Rudd, and now Steve Park, who's moved up into the 5th position as we are at lap 121 in Charlotte.
Racing Radios, the leader in racing communications worldwide. Call us today at 1-800-669-1522 for all your two-way needs for race teams and scanners and headsets for the fans. Mack trucks are furnished by Clement Chevy Mack Sales. For all your truck and tractor needs, call Clement at 1-800-369-MACK. Featherlight, the official trailer of NASCAR, CART, IRL, NHRA, ASA, and World of Outlaws. Remember to call Featherlight for all your trailer and motor coach needs at 800-800-1230. Winnebago Industries. For information on Winnebago Industries products or the Winnebago Motorsports team, call 1-800-643-4892.
Back at Charlotte, Bobby Labonte continues to lead the UAW-GM Quality 500. There are the lead trio, Labonte, Earnhardt, and Dale Jarrett, who is closing in on the front two now as we get farther in on this set of tires. Ooh, look at that.
Earnhardt
almost
hit the
got
wall.
the wall. Did he get it?
He may have touched it. There was a black mark there.
Can't quite see as the car flashes through the flame.
If he did, he didn't tell the crew because I'm listening to his radio and he never said a word. No, his tires look okay.
Yeah, paint's not nicked up. He came awful close. He tried awful hard.
Wow.
He may have hit the wall. Let's take a look.
Middle car on the screen is Earnhardt. Let's see if he got into the wall off 4. Watch the white paint. See if there are any black marks on it when he leaves.
Whoa.
Oh, he grazed it. He grazed it. He grazed it. Wow.
Somebody had grazed it just before him as well. There was a black mark when it started, but it was a bigger one when Earnhardt left.
Okay, and the Goodyear's yellow on the tires, and that was a white wall that went by here, so he definitely hit the wall with the right rear corner.
Behind these drivers, Andy Houston is wiggling his car around like he's got a problem. He was up high in the groove off turn 4. Coming to the Superstation next Sunday night, when politics become personal and the line between ally and enemy disappears, the fate of a nation comes down to who you trust. Daryl Hannah, Doug Savant star in the Superstation original movie First Target. Next Sunday night, 8 Eastern, only on the Superstation. What was that I was saying about Andy Houston wiggling his car off 4?
Boy, you talk about a tire blowing out. Look at that. The rubber just flapping on all over the right front there.
Caution's out, buddy. Debris on the racetrack. From the Andy Houston car, caution is out for the 4th time in the race. Andy Houston making his 2nd NASCAR Winston Cup start. He will drive full-time for this PPI team next year. got some problems now because that tire is just ripping the right front corner of that car apart. Let's mention that Jeff Fuller's car has been retired from the race. We saw him come onto pit road and the hood go up. Problems under the hood will force him out with a 40th place finish after 115 laps. Let's go to Mike Massaro, who has more on the communication between Dale Earnhardt and his pit after that little brush with the outside concrete. Mike?
Well, Alan, in typical Dale Earnhardt fashion, he seemed unfazed by it. Actually, took a little while before he even acknowledged that it happened, but once he did, very cool, calm, and collected, radioed into crew chief Kevin Hamlin and said, that was pretty close. I think I touched the wall with the right side. I spoke with Kevin Hamlin. He said that it's only slight damage to the right side, sheet metal damage. Right now, the Goodwrench team up on the wall awaiting the 3-car to pit.
He didn't catch much of it, but he caught it. And anytime you catch it with these cars, the aerodynamics are so finely tuned, it can be a factor. Leaders will pit at lap 131. Earnhardt first to his stall because of being pitted all the way up at the turn 4 end of the pit lane. Bobby Labonte right in the center section. Triple box, top 3 in the race. Labonte, Earnhardt, and Dale Jarrett. Earnhardt's crew will get done first.
They didn't have to do very much work to Earnhardt's car. He's back underway.
What a stop! 12.8 seconds for Earnhardt.
Wow.
Is that a world's record or what?
Troubles there on the rear tire for Dale Jarrett's car. Labonte's away. Earnhardt's going to get out first. Is that Rudd second?
Yeah, it sure is. Ricky Rudd second.
Look at Park. He might get out third. That's going to be Labonte third. Park, great job by his crew to get him out fourth. And listen to the roar again as Earnhardt comes off the pit lane with the race lead. A 12.8.
Unbelievable. Well, they're in the zone today. Earnhardt and his crew are in the zone. When you can hit the wall, come off without any damage, and then pull off a pit stop like that, you're good.
Under caution for debris on the racetrack from Andy Houston's car. We're at lap 131, 203 to go in the UAW-GM Quality 500. Back at Charlotte under caution at lap 133 of the UAW-GM Quality 500. Dale Earnhardt winning the race off of pit road with a blistering stop by his crew. Now, years ago, the team was known as the Flying Aces. They don't use that nickname anymore, but they sure acted like the Flying Aces of old right here.
It's as good a pit stop as you're ever going to see.
Chocolate Myers coming back to get the second can of fuel. Down and away. Our timing, which is unofficial, of course, 12.8. Mike Massaro.
And I'm with crew chief Kevin Hamlin. And Kevin, 12.8 seconds, an absolutely incredible pit stop. What did you do to get this team pumped up today?
They've been pumped up all season. You know, we don't have to do anything to these guys. When Dale runs good, which he does most every week, GM Goodwrench Service Plus crews right on the money. And every once in a while we'll have a hiccup, but they work out hard and they practice hard at the shop for the pit stops. And, you know, when we start in the back like we did today, you know, they knew it was on them to get us a lot of track position right away early in the race. And obviously they've done their job, and Dale's done a really good job with the car. It's working fairly good right now. So we're just a little bit tight, and the tires have such good grip today that it's pretty hard on them.
You heard what happened to the right front tire on the 3-car last stop. This time in, they took the tires off, took a real close look. The right front looks real good this time around.
Earnhardt off pit lane with the lead over Ricky Rudd and Bobby Labonte, the championship leader, running in third position. Bobby Labonte's championship season so far, as we're 1 lap away from the restart, well, he has been consistent and steady and contending to win just about every week. Preview of the fight for the championship here in Atlanta, March, when he lost out to Dale Earnhardt by that much. Labonte scored one of his biggest career victories in August at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, taking the Brickyard 400. He's been lucky, too. Darlington starting last in a backup car after a practice crash. His crew got him off pit road. It started raining. He won the race, the Southern 500. They've come back from adversity as well. This is Richmond, a power steering problem. Came back to finish 15th. Martinsville last week. Caught in a pit road jam. Falls from 5th all the way back to 26th. Comes back up through the traffic after repairs to 9th. then gets knocked around and spun off turn 4. Watch this, a flying 360, grabs a gear. He only lost 1 spot and finished 10th in the race. Bobby Labonte has come back from problems to protect his point lead in the last couple of weeks. Let's get an update on pit road from Mike Hogwood.
And Ricky Rudd's team also had a great pit stop. Now, crew chief Michael McSwain told Ricky, he said, Ricky, don't go crazy. Remember, we're great on long runs. That's been the story with both the 28 and the 88 of Dale Jarrett today.
Jeremy Mayfield and Dave Blaney going to try and get laps back as we go back racing. Let's mention that Mark Martin made a second pit stop under the caution. He's fallen from 11th to 29th position. We'll try and follow up on what the problem was with the extra stop for the Martin car in a moment.
You can see Ricky Rudd on the restart there. He started in second gear. He broke traction and really got a pretty lousy start there back on under the green. Dropped back about 15 car lengths from the leader.
Second, third, and fourth as Mayfield tries to get his lap back from Earnhardt once again. He'll do it this time. On the caution for debris a minute ago, Rusty Wallace did get back on the lead lap. He's in 27th position, but more importantly, he is back in the hunt for a good finish.
And has a very fast car. He had made up about a half a lap under the green, and then the caution came out. He's back in the fight, I'll guarantee you.
Tony Stewart racing Steve Park for 4th after taking 5th from Dale Jarrett.
Park having a great run today despite incredible adversity. Hit the wall last night in the final minutes of happy hour. Crew worked late last night, came in early this morning, patched the car up. They certainly could have gone to a backup without any loss of real starting position. They said this car is so good it's worth fixing. They did, involved in an early crash. You see the results of that in the left rear corner of the car. Park running in 4th spot despite all that.
Park 4th, Stewart 5th, Jarrett 6th, Gordon 7th. Dave Blaney in the 93 is 2 laps down in 35th position. Thank you, Dave, for allowing me by. We saw at the end of the last long green flag run that we had there. I talked earlier in the show about Dale Jarrett's comments to me this morning. First 30 laps on a set of tires, he wouldn't be spectacular. Last 30 laps he'd come on, he was closing on Earnhardt and Labonte when the caution came out.
I'm going to tell you another story about Dale Jarrett. It's not a racing story, but it's an important story about this guy. Over the last couple of years, he's had a deal with his sponsors, Ford Quality Care and Ford Credit, so that he could help support the Susan G. Komen Foundation, which does a terrific job of fighting breast cancer. And he's managed to work things out that he's going to be able to keep going next year. They've got over $500,000 poured into that fund. He and his wife, Kelly, have just worked tirelessly trying to raise money to fight that hideous disease.
Here's the race for the lead. Ricky Rudd creeping in on the back bumper of Dale Earnhardt. Earnhardt's giving him the outside.
Yep, he knows right now that he does not need to lean on that right front corner too hard. Ricky Rudd just went to the outside and powers by. Bobby Labonte's out there also.
After getting through the traffic from 37th starting spot to the front, we talked about the term racing smart here a couple times today. Earnhardt needs to race smart. He's got a long way to go, 194 laps to go. He's had a tire problem once in the race that he got kind of lucky from. You know, it happened just as the caution came out. He didn't have to stop under green. So he needs to race smart and take care of the tires for a while and save the really hard charging now that he's got track position for the end of the day.
Exactly right. And what he's doing right now, if you notice, he's running Rudd a little bit different than he did Bobby Labonte. He moves over and let Rudd go. He's not doing that with Bobby Labonte. He wants to stay ahead of him if he possibly can.
Now we mentioned Mark Martin falling back to 29th position on the restart after an extra pit stop. Under the caution flag, Mike Hogwood has the explanation why.
Well, they simply had a miscue on the first pit stop. The jack dropped down. It wasn't supposed to. Mark Martin left. They brought him back in because they felt they really needed to put a rubber in the right rear. They got that work done, but it took them 2 stops to do it.
That's the story on Mark. He's gone from 29th on the restart up to 26th now. And is working on Wally Dollar back there for the 25th position. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has gone back up to the 12th position. He slipped back a little while ago. We saw him briefly falling back through the field. Mike Trevor got tagged by Kurt Busch off of turn number 4. Jerry Nadeau got into the outside wall trying to avoid Skinner half spinning. Nadeau, a potential winner in this event, flattened the right side of his car.
No caution
Caution
yet.
is out. Caution is out now. How Mike Skinner kept from crashing that car, I will never know. He was 45 degrees sideways.
That's a lot of driving ability and 40% luck, I'll tell you. I've been there myself, and sometimes you get lucky. He just saved it. Got a great race car there and a pretty good driver, but I tell you, he's pretty lucky too.
Mike Skinner got nipped by Kurt Busch off turn 4 in the left rear. He chased the car down the track, back up the track. When he came up the track, he was pointed right at Jerry Nadeau, and Nadeau got squeezed into the wall. Let's have a look. Watch Skinner, watch Kurt Busch right behind him here. Well, Skinner got loose first.
Yeah, Skinner was loose. Busch, a rookie, this is his first start ever at Lowe's Motor Speedway, but boy, that could have got ugly.
Did Sterling Marlin bump the back of Nadeau and send him into the wall when Nadeau lifted, seeing Skinner get sideways?
Well, they were all in tight pursuit right there, and I think there might have been contact back in there.
He's got some problems. Rear end housing's moved over on the car. You can see from the left side shot on the machine.
His chance to win is over.
Yeah, well, I bet they end up behind the wall trying to fix that. Nadeau got sent to the back of the line for speeding, leaving pit road. Oh, the grass can got tipped over. Can't fix that in the middle of the race. That one's done for the day. We'll come back to Charlotte in a minute.
Back with you once again. Take a look. Look at this incident that just occurred. Lap 145, 217 miles in, and look at a serious TV incident right there. Thank you, Mike Skinner. Goodbye, camera. Now, take a look at the race summary right now as we get up to 200 miles. Ricky Rudd, now the leader. That's at 220 miles, actually. We've had 5 cautions. Lead has changed 21 times. Record for this race would be 47. Drivers leading 9 to date. 17 is the record. And we're up to our 5th caution in this race. And it's a slow one because of that at 133 miles an hour. Now, if you want to see what makes Dale Earnhardt really great, take a look at this picture once again. Dale Earnhardt is just amazing. He has said you've got to know when to make your move and make it quick. And that's just how he did it. That kind of move is what you'd see at a Saturday night short track at 80 or 90 miles an hour. But this is at 180 to 190 miles an hour when he shot from 6th into 4th coming off the banking. Simply amazing. That's what makes him a giant and makes him so great. We'll be back with more of the action of the UAW-GM Quality 500 in a moment.
And a thank you to most of our sponsors who've allowed us to cover today's race with our TBS No Brakes coverage. Log on to tbssuperstation.com or call us at 1-888-722-1635. Toll free, let us know your opinion of our TBS No Brakes coverage. There's the number. If you'd like to give us a call, we'd sure appreciate your feedback. Under caution still, you see Ricky Rudd still heading up the field behind the pace car as the cleanup is just about complete and we get set to go back racing.
Jerry Nadeau right here had a bad break. I'll tell you, he come off turn 4 here. You can see there Mike Skinner breaking loose a little bit right there. Kurt Busch into the back of him and into the outside wall there, trying to avoid the spinning 31. And what a great job the 31 car Mike Skinner did not spin out. It could have been a huge wreck on the front straightaway. There was about 8 cars behind him.
We're back under green. Jerry Nadeau has gone to the garage to get repairs. Pit stops under the caution flag were made by Matt Kenseth, Wally Dallenbach, Elliott Sadler, Skinner, Martin, Mayfield, Michael Waltrip, Terry Labonte, Kurt Busch, and Bill Elliott. Ted Musgrave also in as Earnhardt challenges for the lead.
And takes it. Earnhardt back up in front. Fans back on their feet.
Bobby Labonte's going to run up to the outside of Rudd to try and get second. Meantime, Mike Hogwood is in the garage with Jerry Nadeau.
Yeah, suspension really messed up on the car, and they're changing the control arm on the right front. Jerry, what happened?
I don't know. We just we got caught for speeding there up the road one time, put us in the back. Then we came up through real good. We were up in the top 20, and then we had a bad pit stop and put us dead last. And the 97 car, I don't know what he was thinking. You know, when I was a rookie, I tried to pay a lot of respect to a lot of these Winston Cup drivers.
obviously he didn't pay any respect. He just bulldozed over the Lowe car. And I was stuck on the outside, had nowhere to go.
It's a word from Jerry Nadeau, obviously very disappointed and dejected here in the garage getting his car repaired.
Potential threat to win today, but as you could hear, things have gone very wrong for him. Let's mention that Brett Bodine has also gone back behind the wall into the garage area on the caution flag. Jeremy Mayfield got back on the lead lap. Bobby Labonte's going to try and get the lead back from Dale Earnhardt.
On the outside yet. A gutsy move.
It's not over yet. He has to clear him, and he's got a very good race car. Labonte does. But you can see Earnhardt's going to make him earn it. He's going to go right back on the inside, make a contest out of it.
Dave Blaney right in the middle of all this. If he was on the lead lap, this would be the race of his life. He is proving today he's got the right stuff to run with the leaders.
Dave Blaney in 34th position, 2 laps down, giving way to Ricky Rudd, who has a terrific run off turn 2 on Bobby Labonte.
And Steve Park in the 1 car comes along with him on the inside, and there's the 20 car just right in there. Ward Burton also. This is getting tight for the lead up here.
Boy. Hart, Stewart, Ward Burton, Johnny Benson. What a lead pack. Benson coming back for the pit road speeding penalty that dropped him to the tail end of the field earlier. He's up to 7th. Right behind this group, Robert Presley. Terrific run. He's in 8th spot. Jarrett and Gordon rounding out the top 10.
Any one of this bunch is good enough to win this race today.
So impressed with the run of Steve Park.
Yeah, it's just been a great story watching him and how strong he has run here. Look,
Three on the bottom. 3 wide. Oh, look out, he hit him.
He sure did.
He gave him a little tap there going into turn 1. You can see Steve Park did a great job of not losing the car going in the corner. Here comes Johnny Benson. I tell you, they don't give you any relief for going high.
I didn't think Park lifted at all. He just controlled that car.
You had a heart monitor on him. His heartbeat probably just went from about 50 beats a minute to about 110.
Or it stopped. One of the two.
Yeah. Rudd by Labonte for 2nd.
Rudd's real hungry. He knows that he's got the best ride he has had in years. Has the potential to win last 3 races. 3rd twice, 4th once. You run that well, you keep running up front. Eventually you're going to get one.
Here's another look. Park and Stewart racing off into turn 1 for 4th spot.
Stewart has nowhere to go. He would have to spin out getting in the corner. He's right on the bottom. That part of the racetrack you don't go to at 190.
How did Steve Park keep from dumping that car into the wall? How did he do it?
Well, I'll tell you the first thing he did. When he started up high, he eased out the throttle there and got the car settled down before he tried to turn it. Had he jerked the steering wheel around, it would have gone.
So Park has fallen back to 7th, right behind Benson in the 10 car there, who's running 6th. We got a quick look at Robert Presley, who's just ahead of Dale Jarrett in the 8th and 9th positions, those 2 drivers. Ready to go. And look at this for the lead. Still 3 cars, the lap car of Blaney, and then 4th place Stewart. Someday Jeff Burton's day. Got up into the top spot earlier in the event at lap number 82 after starting in 38th. He's running in 15th right now. There's Jeff racing with Jeff Gordon for the 14th spot. Rick Mast is also in the hunt for position. Oh, Rusty Wallace, Dale Jarrett. Jarrett is in the wreck. Turn 4. Gordon's in the wreck. Gordon. Hard hit for Dale Jarrett. Look at the left side of his car.
That's the only good part of this, watching him move around inside that car.
Jeff Gordon's car is done,
wrecked.
too. They'll have to really do a lot of work to even get him back out there for any point.
Championship contender, Dale Jarrett. Needed a good run here at Charlotte today. He is going to wind up in the garage. That car very heavily damaged. Caution is out at lap 159. Rusty Wallace was involved in that. Rusty had moved all the way back up to 10th position. After getting a lap down earlier, Rusty's on pit road early here. Look at the back corner of his car. The Gordon machine all torn up.
Gordon tried to slow up there, just had nowhere to go. Went all the way up against the outside wall.
Gordon won the pole for this race. Got a good car. Jarrett championship hopes gone now. There's no chance.
Sixth caution of the race. Jeff Gordon, Rusty Wallace, Dale Jarrett in the crash in turn 4. As you see DJ, I don't blame him for taking his time getting out of that car because he took a wicked shot on the left side of that machine. Here's another look at what happened. Watching Dale extricate himself from the machine. And the ovation from the fans as he gets out. And rightfully so. Hard shot over there for DJ. All right, let's get another look at what happened over there on the racetrack. Oh, Robert Presley. Oh, what a bad break. He was in the top 10. All right, another look at it here as Presley tries to make the turn into the garage. There's Presley, Wallace, and Jarrett just ahead.
Rusty got in the left rear corner there just enough to turn Jarrett. Certainly didn't mean to, but the contact was made. You see Robert Presley on the high side there, going by on the outside. Contact by Gordon.
Bad break. On board Jarrett's car.
This is going to be a wild ride. Hang on.
Goes down in turn 3. Everything is normal there. Boom. He gets touched right there.
Boy, that was a long crash. And it just kept happening.
Here's a look at it. Here's a look at Jeff Gordon as he walks away from his mangled car back toward the garage.
And he did everything he could do to miss that wreck. He slowed down, he went high, and still got involved.
Well, one of the themes of our day, championship contenders. One of them's been eliminated. Dale Jarrett with a crash here at lap 160. Another look at the accident from Mark Martin's view, who was well back in traffic, and see how he manages to get through here. Okay. Caution light was already on.
Right there is spotters telling him where to go. Because he can't see, that's obvious.
Oh, he can't see a thing. Smoke, look at all the oil and water on the windshield of his car.
Whoa! The spotters are right up here, and they can tell you what's going on. They were looking right directly at the wreck, and they told him to get in a certain lane and just stay straight. And they talked him right through there. It was obvious that Mark Martin could not see where he was going.
Rusty Wallace was thundering up through the field.
And that's all the spotters up there.
One more look at it from, I believe, Dale Jr.'s onboard camera. Here we go. Oh, look at this. Wallace and Presley right around him.
Nice job, Junior. The right direction.
Well, what he didn't do was jump on the brake there, because he would have been involved in that accident. He stayed in the throttle and got right by.
Under caution after a crash that has eliminated Dale Jarrett from the UAW-GM Quality 500 at Charlotte.
The UAW-GM Quality 500 on the Superstation is brought to you by Priceline.com. Name your own price, airline tickets, hotel rooms, new cars, mortgages, and more. Priceline.com. By Citgo. You love racing. We love racing. By NapaOnline.com, where everything great about Napa is now available online. And by UAW-GM. Assembly line to finish line. Teamwork wins.
Back at Charlotte, pit road was just opened a moment ago after the cleanup and the cars removed from the entrance of pit road in turn 4, where they came to rest after the crash involving Dale Jarrett, Jeff Gordon, and Robert Presley. Here are the pit stops that happened just a minute ago. Triple box, Dale Earnhardt, Ricky Rudd, and Bobby Labonte, the top 3 drivers coming into the stops.
Rudd is pitting at the very far end of pit road. So he'll be the first one to finish no matter what, but he's got to drive all the way down pit road once he gets done with his work. You see him pull out now.
Incredible stops there by Dale Earnhardt. 15 seconds flat. Wow.
18.9 for Rudd's team. He'll come out just behind Earnhardt. Watch the box now on the right side. Labonte pops out of his pit, but look at in front of him. Here comes Tony Stewart up into third. Junior with a good stop. Mark Martin with a good stop. So the order will be Dale Earnhardt, Ricky Rudd, Tony Stewart, Bobby Labonte, and Mark Martin, followed by Dale Earnhardt Jr., Steve Park, Johnny Benson, Joni Nemechek, and Jimmy Spencer. Cleanup continues here in Charlotte under the caution flag. We'll take a break and come back with more in just a minute. Dale Earnhardt is the leader of the UAW-GM Quality 500 at Charlotte, winning the race off pit road once again. He's done it time after time today, the pit crew getting him out first. Next Sunday night, when politics become personal and the line between ally and enemy disappears, the fate of a nation comes down to who you trust. Daryl Hannah and Doug Savant star in the Superstation original movie, First Target. Next Sunday at 8 Eastern, only on the Superstation. Dale Jarrett's car back in the garage, covered up. Jeff Gordon's car also back there. Mike Hogwood is with him.
Jeff, on the pole, I know you didn't expect this. What happened?
Well, we were having a little bit of a tough time with it, but I think, you know, it would have come around by the end of the race. We were a little bit loose there on one end, a little tight at the other end, and we're just kind of, you know, trying to bide our time and be patient and keep working on it. But looked like somebody or a couple guys got together and got loose and spun out right in the middle of 3 and 4, and I had plenty of time to slow down. I slowed down, but there was so much smoke, I was hoping they were going to go to the bottom, and they didn't.
I noticed your crew working hard on this car. Can they get it fixed?
We might. They lost a lot of oil, and I didn't drive it very far, so I'm sure they can get it back out there, but what fun is that going to be? I'll have me a ball here at Charlotte riding around.
Not the way he wants to drive at Charlotte, Allen.
No, Jeff Gordon used to being up front, contending for a win here. He's back in the garage along with Dale Jarrett, Jerry Nadeau, Jeff Fuller, Kenny Wallace, Hud Strickland, and Mike Bliss. Attrition rate kind of high here, and we're just coming to halfway now. Get the restart at the midway point of the event, 250 miles down. Looking on from Tony Stewart's car, got off pit road in third after this set of stops behind Ricky Rudd and Dale Earnhardt, who will head the field back to the green flag. Cross flags are up, green flag is out, halfway home in the UAW-GM Quality 500. Here's the bid for the lead. Rudd down low on Dale Earnhardt.
We've watched this time and time again. He does not fight Rudd when he comes up there for the first few laps, and then he closes in on the back part of Rudd's car and runs along there. Dale Earnhardt does, just biding his time. Does not want to lean on these tires too hard on the first couple of laps until the air pressure gets up where they want it.
Applefield summary at halfway. Spencer came back with a pit road speeding penalty earlier.
Now, somebody's not worried about the tires is fixing to make a real bid for second place. Tony Stewart in the orange car there would love to move on up, maybe lead a while.
Tony has not yet led today, trying to win a third straight NASCAR Winston Cup race after taking Dover and Martinsville the last 2 Sundays.
I struggled with that race car, Tony Stewart's car. Really, they had to work on it the whole time. They finally got it good in happy hour last night. Not a lot of adjustments on it this morning. Stewart now having a good day.
Up to second. Maybe not for long. Look how quickly he closed on Rudd.
Well, I'm telling you, he's really got a great line through the corner. You'll notice Rudd's car right about there moving up. He's right on the white line. And if you can say it, maybe 6-8 inches lower than Rudd through there, but he gets a great run up out of the corner.
So Rudd leads. Stewart is second. Earnhardt is third. Bobby Labonte is fourth. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is joining the chase. He's moved to fifth. Johnny Benson just into sixth around Mark Martin. Here's the bid for the lead. Stewart going to go to the front for the first time all day. 4 laps past halfway. Tony Stewart up from 17th starting spot. Becomes the 10th different driver to lead this race.
Well, this is beginning to be a song that we've all heard before. Stewart just works on that car. He and his crew chief, they speak that language, that perfect language, and just keep adjusting until Tony Stewart gets up front. And once he gets in the lead, he's hard to move out of there.
28th lead change of the day for Tony Stewart. Hey, you can join me and some of NASCAR's top drivers for a once-in-a-lifetime experience. How? Well, log on to TBSSuperstation.com and enter the NASCAR on TBS shootout. If you enter correctly, you'll need to remember that Dale Earnhardt is leading today's race at the midway point. 4 grand prize winners will receive a trip for 2 nights to Charlotte. They'll be teamed with a NASCAR driver, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Ward Burton, Kyle Petty, or Wally Dallenbach to compete in a sporting clay shooting competition on Kyle Petty's farm. And then on the second day, get the King's Experience here at the racetrack from the Richard Petty driving experience. Log on to TBSSuperstation.com and get in on all the fun. Robert Presley having a terrific run in the top 10 when he was swept up in the big crash moments ago. Let's hear from him.
Well, disheartened after what was going to be a great day for him. Robert, what happened?
I don't know. Just went off in the 3 there. 88, I guess didn't see the 2-car underneath him. Come down, 2-car had nowhere to go. They come sliding back across the racetrack in front of us. I mean, disheartening. This Jasper engine Ford was, it was pretty good all day. Just sitting there, just riding, waiting on, you know, this last 100 laps to go out there racing, but, you know, wasn't to be.
Well, Robert says this team is going to try to get this car back out, but he really feels they're on the verge of something big.
6th place car, Dale Earnhardt Jr., way off the pace, coming to pit road. Lap 175, not good under the green flag. He had worked his way all the way up into the 5th position a little bit ago. He's going to go down a lap here, most likely.
It's the same driver, same car that led the most laps here in May, finished 4th, looked like a winner then. Not having any fun today.
That was Jerry Nadeau sneaking onto pit road behind him. Nadeau had just come out of the garage a little bit ago. Marty Snyder.
What a strange day for Dale Earnhardt Jr. He had fallen back as far as 25th. The situation here, they think they have a cut right front tire. Earlier when they fell back in the race, they did not get all the lug nuts tied on the right rear tire. He had come back up to 5th, and they're going to get a speeding penalty as well, as Dale Earnhardt Jr. will be held here in the pits for a penalty.
15 seconds, speeding coming on to pit road for Dale Jr. You see the official checking the stopwatch. From the time the work stops on the car, 15 seconds, now off he goes. That'll put him a 2nd lap down as Tony Stewart comes by Jr. just exiting the pit road. So 2 laps down, 30th position for Dale Jr. and falling after things shake out here by the time he gets back up to speed.
As you watch Tony Stewart on the lead here, realized that he went 10 races this year before he had even led a single event. They were all saying, sophomore slump. This guy's lost it. Going to have a terrible year.
Look at Benson up to 4th. Around Bobby Labonte. Coming back, what was he, 35th earlier after the speeding penalty on the first pit stop? Into the top 5 and in position to contend for the win.
I got to tell you, other than the points race all year long, Johnny Benson's been the guy that most people have talked about. He was riderless at one time there, joined the team that he's with now, went to Daytona, unsponsored, got a sponsor the night before the race there, and just like about 8 or 9 laps of pulling the Daytona 500 off. He's winless in Winston Cup, but I don't think it's going to last.
Benson and this team really on a roll here of late in the 2000 season. Tony Stewart is the leader of the UAW-GM Quality 500. No Brakes Racing continues on TBS. As you saw during our TBS No Brakes coverage, we are under caution. Robbie Gordon has crashed in turn 2. 7th yellow of the race comes out at lap 183. Gordon's got the Wolfman on the hood of his car.
Yeah, they need to change the number of that race car. Whoa, look at this. Attaboy, Tony. Push the pace car along.
Well, don't be pushing him too hard. Humphrey will be sending you a bill for damage to the back bumper, Tony. Come on now.
It's okay to push it a little bit.
Yeah, it's fun.
He just raised his visor up there and just wiped the sweat away from his eyes, and another Sunday ride for him.
See if the leaders come to the pit lane here. Hey, we want to hear from you about our TBS No Brakes coverage. Log on to TBSSuperstation.com or call us at 1-888-722-1635. Let us know what you think. Stewart's on pit road and the rest of the leaders. Stops will be at lap 184. Stewart, Rudd, Earnhardt, Labonte, Benson, Hart, Martin, Burton, and Spencer. The top 10 coming in. You look at the top 3 in the triple box on the left. Remember, Earnhardt's crew has gotten him off the pit lane first on just about every stop all day long. Keep your eyes on the right box now as he comes down the pit lane and see if Stewart's able to pop out in front of him.
Boy, oh boy. Looks like he had trouble on the left rear.
Bobby Labonte's up. Here comes Stewart. Don't speed. You know NASCAR's watching.
Yeah, 3 deep looking at that line.
Dale Jarrett involved in a hard crash 24 laps ago. Mike Hogwood is with him.
Well, Alan, obviously disappointed. Dale, what happened?
Just got hit going into the turn 3. Don't know exactly what, just making my normal line in, and I guess somebody drove in a little bit further and caught me in the left rear.
And obviously the car done for the day, and now the rest of the season, you guys just go out and go for wins, huh?
That's what we've been trying to do the whole time, so we'll continue that, for the next 5.
All right, that's Dale Jarrett, disappointed, and his car out for the race.
Tough luck for Dale. Very hard crash. Glad to see that he's okay. Back with more at TBS No Brakes Racing at Charlotte. We continue with Tony Stewart leading. 1 lap away from the restart with Bobby Labonte now the leader of the UAW-GM Quality 500. You see Dale Earnhardt Jr. going to try and get one of his laps lost back to his inside. Let's go back and have another look at that exit to pit road and how tight things were. Mayfield with a great stop. Look out. Watch Labonte, now watch Stewart come popping out of his box. We mentioned Dale Earnhardt Jr. losing 2 laps earlier. Green flag unscheduled pit stop. Let's follow up on that now with Marty Snyder.
Well, the problem again, Alan, was loose left rear lug nuts. That's twice today they've had that problem, and that's a bad problem to have when you come down pit road, and it's not what these guys need. They have not had a top 10 since Dover in June, 16 races ago, and the struggles continue for Dale Earnhardt Jr.
He's going to try and get one of his 2 laps back here from Bobby Labonte as we get set to go racing off turn 4 this time. It's Labonte, Earnhardt, Stewart, Rudd, and Mayfield coming back from a lap down. Great pit stop by his crew. Gets him up into 5th spot. Then Spencer Martin, Dick Trickle into 8th, Bill Elliott 9th, and Steve Park 10th. And a little bit of sunshine popping out here.
And I'm going to wonder if they're going to let the start stand as it was just then. I noticed a little, I won't say anything. I'll let it play out.
Junior with a big wiggle going down the backstretch.
I haven't said anything on the NASCAR radio yet, buddy, about him jumping the restart. So.
Well, what could have happened is Labonte may have started and then decided to back off a little bit. And, of course, Earnhardt Jr. needing to get that lap back. He got in the throttle pretty quick there.
Something just caught my eye. Did Bobby Labonte just run over like a styrofoam cup and send it flying or something?
Something
See
went
that
flying.
looking ahead to
Yeah,
Earnhardt's
something
car?
went flying through the air.
Here's Earnhardt, the bid for the lead, outside, turn 4.
Well, it was just a styrofoam cup.
New leader.
And that gives you a little idea of what track position means to cars. Up there, Earnhardt Jr. hadn't led a lap today. He's got that good position up there without having lap traffic or anything around him. He's up there running as fast as the leaders right at the moment.
Ronnie's going to lose a couple of more spots down in that inside lane. Stewart, Rudd, now Mayfield going by. Mayfield was 15th before the caution flag. Crew got him up to 5th on the pit stop. He's doing the rest right now.
Mayfield, a strange up and down day. He's been in the front, in the back, down the lap.
The reason he got down the lap was a green flag pit stop at lap 81 for a vibration. There's Rusty Wallace. He was in the same boat. He pitted from the lead back at lap 78. Left rear was cut down. Fell a lap down in 34th. Got the lap back as Dale Earnhardt loses the lead to Tony Stewart. We're following up on Rusty Wallace. He was in the big crash with Dale Jarrett and others at lap 180. Rusty is running in 20th position now. Here's Mayfield moving up.
That ladder will be easy to climb until he gets up there with Tony Stewart. He has a great car. You can see right there, passing 2 cars in that one corner. Jeremy Mayfield just stepped it up one more notch.
We have just set a new high for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series in 2000. Most lead changes in a race this season. That was the 31st lead change of the day when Tony Stewart went by and took the top spot from Dale Earnhardt. What a race this has been.
It really has. More stories, and I tell you, you got a lot of people to pull for here. It's too bad just one guy's going to win this thing, because there have been so many teams that have excelled, so many drivers have done incredible jobs here this afternoon.
And you couldn't pick a winner from the bunch.
No, and the great part is, looking back at Earnhardt, even when he's not winning or leading the race, he and the 18 have had some great battles all day long, and Dale Earnhardt refuses to let Bobby Labonte lead him around this racetrack. He dropped back behind him, next corner, right back by him.
We followed the story of the contenders for the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship from the beginning of our pre-race show right through the event. Earnhardt running in 4th, Bobby Labonte 5th, Jeff Burton just a couple of cars behind in 7th. There's Burton there, right behind Jimmy Spencer. There's Burton in the 99. Dale Jarrett, of course, the big loser today with a heavy crash at lap number 180. Tony Stewart leads, 140 laps to go. Here at Charlotte, we'll come back with more of our live coverage on TBS.
Citgo presents Who Won It? The Coca-Cola 600, the annual Memorial Day Classic in Charlotte, is usually among the highlights of the NASCAR calendar. This year's edition was certainly that, with many great storylines. The Earnhardts put on a great show. Dale Jr. won the Bud Pole Award and led the most laps. He put on a memorable battle for the lead with his dad, the 7-time Winston Cup champion. They would finish 3rd and 4th, with father just ahead of son. Young Jerry Nadeau was a top contender. He qualified 2nd and led 115 laps in his Chevrolet before blowing his engine in the final 50 laps. But the battle for the checkered flag came down to Winston Cup points leader Bobby Labonte and rookie Matt Kenseth. So who won? In a huge surprise, it was Kenseth in just his 18th career start, passing Labonte with 25 laps to go, then holding him off for his first career victory.
There's Elliott Sadler in the Citgo car, 25th position on the lead lap at this point. And we talked of Matt Kenseth. He runs in the 19th spot, also on the lead lap. Not really a spectacular day for Matt, certainly not of the quality he had back here in May in the 600.
No, he hasn't even led a lap in Winston Cup competition since then.
And by the way, if you read in the morning newspapers this morning that there was a problem in post-race inspection with Kenseth's car after his victory in the NASCAR Busch Series yesterday, word we get is the engine checked out fine this morning. NASCAR gave it overnight to cool down, checked it again, and Matt's car passed tech, and everything was fine with his Busch Series victory yesterday. Here is the leader, Tony Stewart. Heavy pressure from Jeremy Mayfield. Stewart's given Mayfield the outside line.
Something's wrong with Stewart. He dropped off the pace about four or five laps ago. He slowed up quite a bit.
Keep an eye on his car and see what happens. Meantime, Bobby Labonte has lost a couple of more positions.
He may have just got sideways and lost a lot of momentum, but I noticed he checked up quite a bit.
Dale Earnhardt has gone by Bobby Labonte. Jeff Burton just took the 5th position from Labonte, and Bobby's now back to 6th. And Buddy talking about Tony Stewart. Keep an eye on him. His last lap speed was some 3 miles an hour slower than Mayfield, but you can attribute a lot of that to him pulling over and waving Mayfield on by.
Well, I think he just, what I said, I think he got sideways the lap before. He wanted to make sure he didn't have a tire going down or something like that. Now he's picked it right back up again.
Did you see Burton? Remember when Earnhardt scrubbed the wall off turn 4 earlier? Burton almost just repeated the act on that last corner.
Burton charging, running really hard on Earnhardt now.
He's been kind of hot and cold today. Really hot in the early part when he raced up from 38th into the lead. And then that last segment on that last set of tires, he wasn't all that spectacular.
No, well, Burton's been hot and cold all year long. You know, you think about it. He goes out to New Hampshire. He leads every lap of the race. The very next week, he goes to Dover. Bam, hits the wall, big fire. I mean, there's always something going on around Jeff Burton.
Let's talk about some other guys having pretty solid days today. Joe Nemechek has raced his way into the top 15. Started in 21st position. He's up to 13th now. Got some telemetry on board Nemechek's machine. Heartbreak yesterday in the Busch Series event you saw live here on TBS. Leading Comes around off turn 4 to take the 2 to go signal and runs out of gas.
Wow. You know, his heart went right down in his shoes, but what a great performance he did.
It was a breathtaking finish yesterday. He's probably in for another one here today. And what has been a very exciting, very spectacular UAW-GM Quality 500. We're just past the 300-mile mark. It's Andy Houston just behind me in the check. Houston had a right front tire go out earlier for the fender off of his car. And there's Johnny Benson right behind Houston. Benson running in 14th spot. Now, Johnny had been up among the top 8 or 10 earlier in the event. Lost a lot of ground on that last set of pit stops. And we'd like to know why. Talking about Benson, as you watch Jeff Burton here running for the 4th position on Dale Earnhardt. There's Benson. Let's go to Mike Hogwood.
Well, what happened on that pit stop is that Mark Martin came in. He pit right in front of Benson. He clipped the front tire carrier, Bob Askin. Now, Bob is okay, but it really messed up the pit stop and slowed him down tremendously. The car is fine. They're having a great run, as they say, but it was a real miscue here in the pits, and that cost him a ton of time on the racetrack.
See the scoring serial there on Johnny Benson.
Every time your front tire carrier gets hit by another car, it's going to slow your pit stop down.
Not good, especially if he has to go chase the tire. Look at this race for 4th as Earnhardt tries to hold off Burton and Labonte. Meantime, Jeremy Mayfield continues to lead just past 300 miles. And the UAW-GM Quality 500 TBS No Brakes Racing continues.
Back at Lowe's Motor Speedway, Tony Stewart has just secured first place for another time. That makes our lead changes 33 thus far in this event. Taking a look at the summary after 315 miles, 210 to the 334 laps have been run. Lead changes now at 33, 7 cautions to date. And there goes number 34. They only count him at the line, and look at that. Here comes Ricky Rudd back up to 2nd place. The record for lead changes in this race was back in 1974 when there were 47 and David Pearson came out on top. Hey, we may be looking for that record to be broken the way they're going after it here today. Let's get back with Alan Bester.
Only word I can come up with right here, Ken, is fun. It's just been a fun race.
It has, and right now Ricky Rudd's having the most fun he's had all year long. That car is very dominant after it gets a lot of laps on it, and that's what they did. They set that car up with very little bit of fuel in it, and they adjusted on it with the oldest tires they had. Look at him through the center part of the corner here, just going right up the side of Mayfield.
Another lead change for the lead. Marty Snyder can tell us more about Ricky Rudd.
Well, what a solid day for these guys. And I talked to Doug Yates, the head engine builder for Yates Racing this morning. He said they're taking a huge chance with this engine. This engine is what he calls a quasi-qualifying engine, if you will. It's got some of the light components that would be in a qualifying engine, some of the durable components that you want in a race engine. They tried this combination at Michigan. Rudd finished 2nd in that race. They decided to try it at Charlotte because Charlotte is actually pretty easy on an engine, very easy on the valve springs. They decided to go for it, paying off so far for Ricky Rudd.
Rudd out in front one more time. 35 lead changes. Jeff Gordon and Robert Presley have just come back out of the garage. Both cars looking pretty similar to that. They will not perform well, but they will make laps to try and get, to use the old cliche, those valuable championship points.
They will not fit the template either. Look at that. No hood, no fenders. He's back out there again.
While we continue to watch this great fight raging for the lead, we're going to walk back through the field in the scoring box in the upper left of your screen. If you joined in late, tell you some of the stories on the day today. The biggest of them, 35 lead changes. It has been a barn burner all day long so far, and we've still got 116 laps to go. You look at Rudd, Mayfield, and Stewart. Mayfield coming back from a lap down, a green flag pit stop earlier for a tire problem, made up the lap, has come back to lead. Jeff Burton up from 38th spot, led briefly. Bobby Labonte, the championship leader, very solidly in the hunt all day. This is the worst Dale Earnhardt has run in quite some time. His pit crew has gotten him off pit road with the lead most every stop all race long. Mark Martin twice during the day, 2 pit stops under a caution flag. Once they left some lug nuts loose. They came back in again for a second problem. Later, he rallied back to the front. As you see, he and Earnhardt there racing for 8th and 9th spots. Benson, tagged for speeding on pit road earlier, fell to the back, came back to the top 5. Then a problem when the tire carrier got hit on the last pit stop, went back again. He's back to 13th. Rusty Wallace got a lap down, went to pit road with a tire problem while leading, made up the lap, and was involved in the wreck with Dale Jarrett at lap 180, and that's the other major headline story of the day. The crash with Wallet and Jarrett in contact in turn 3. Jarrett crashing, collecting Jeff Gordon and Robert Presley, who were both in the top 10 at the time. Jarrett is done for the day. One of the 4 championship contenders out of the race. He's going to finish no better than 39th on this afternoon. On the lead lap at this point, 26 of the 43 starters. Bobby Dallenbach, last one on the lead lap. And you look now at the rest of the field. Out of the race, Robbie Gordon, we saw crash a little while ago off turn number 2. Dale Jarrett, Jeff Fuller, lost oil pressure. Hutch Strickland and Mike Bliss out after an early crash back at lap number 4. Kenny Wallace has just come back onto the racetrack. He had a crash after a tire went down to lap 87. And he's many, many laps down. There's Herman in his much mangled car.
At least he's got some sheet metal on that thing.
You know, just watching Tony Stewart and all these guys going at it right now, the tires are beginning to slip and slide just a little bit, and the balance, the cars that are great balanced out there are moving right up to the front. Jeff Burton's making a run up right now. He hadn't been a factor for a long time, but now you see him on the high side of the racetrack as he goes by there, starting to make it work on the high side of the racetrack. Hadn't been a lot of traffic up there like it has on the bottom part of the racetrack, and it's working for him right now.
See Ken Schrader about to go 2 laps down. His team reported a tire problem earlier, had to make an unscheduled pit stop. He's back in 29th position. Just thinking, looking at the leader here, this is about the biggest lead anyone's had all day right now, and he's up by 0.6 of a second. I mean, really, it's about the biggest lead anyone's had. Now Earnhardt's sliding back some more. He's back to 12th position. Benson's about to take that from him. Let's get an update from the Earnhardt pit, Mike Massaro.
And Kevin Hamlin-Dale appears to be falling back through the field. What's wrong?
Well, for whatever reason, the car seems fairly tight right now in this set of tires, so hopefully we'll get a caution here where we can adjust this thing, see if we can't get it back running like it was earlier.
And this team has been struggling with tires all afternoon long, has had some problems with the right front.
Yeah, Dale Earnhardt earlier got what might be the break that saved his championship. He radioed in, said he had a right front going down, and then a caution came out just as that happened, and he got to make the pit stop under the yellow flag. The leader is Ricky Rudd. He's 109 laps away from victory, but it is far from over yet. No Brakes Racing continues on TBS. Don't forget, you can log on to TBSSuperstation.com today and get a bird's eye view from the driver's perspective with in-car camera action. That's only at TBSSuperstation.com. Ricky Rudd is the leader. 104 laps to go. Tony Stewart is second, new third-place runner. Jeff Burton has just gotten around Jeremy Mayfield to take that spot as Dale Jarrett's team heads for home.
Sad sight watching that team go home. They'd only had one DNF before today. Hard crash involving several automobiles. Thoroughly trashed the number 88. Jarrett's all done today.
39. No better than that for DJ today. A look at our championship contenders coming into today's race. Bobby Labonte's fallen back to 7th. I think that's the farthest back he's been all race long. Dale Earnhardt, same for him. Farthest back he's been since he came to the front. He started 37th. Jeff Burton, a solid 3rd. We mentioned a minute ago he just took that spot from Mayfield. There's Burton, and he's closing on the front few cars. Mayfield went through the frame. Now here's a good race for 5th. Ward Burton there. Bobby Labonte just taking the spot back from Steve Park.
Park now running in 7th position. Other fellow who's had an incredibly strange day. Jeff Gordon running about a half a race car. Whole nose of that thing missing after he was involved with the Dale Jarrett wreck. Up front, Ricky Rudd, who has not won since the second race at Martinsville, 98. teammate to Dale Jarrett, leading this event. 1977 Winston Cup Rookie of the Year. What a great run. This is probably the best run he has had all year long. Same car he used in Indianapolis to win pole.
There was some talk, and you may have seen it in some of the Sunday papers, about possibly teams not having as many sets of tires to run today's race as they wanted. I never found that to be much of a concern in the garage area talking to teams this morning, but just in case, when Dale Jarrett went out of the race, guess who got the fresh tires he had left in his pit?
Let me guess. Could it possibly have been his teammate?
It would be Ricky Rudd.
Amazing. Meanwhile, Phil Homer this morning in the Goodyear building told me that they would be open all day long. There were plenty of tires. Another truckload with 226 of them showed up here this morning at 5:30. Glad I wasn't there to unload that. Gordon on pit road again, going to pull it behind the wall.
It's over. He's not running fast enough to make the minimum speed, so they've got to go back and try and do some things to get him to run fast enough. There is a minimum speed at each Winston Cup racetrack that's established. It's a percentage back from the typical lap time, and the teams know what that is. Gordon wasn't meeting it, so they've got to go do some more work on that car. Speaking of work on the car, Bobby Labonte 7.6 seconds behind leader Ricky Rudd, as far back as he's been all day. Let's get an update from his pit.
Yeah, I'll say he needs some work on the car, Alan. The car is extremely loose. It started off at the beginning of this run being loose going into the corners. Now it is loose all the way through the corners. Bobby having a very tough time holding onto the car. Jimmy Maycar said, just hang there where you are. Try and stay behind Ward Burton if you can. We'll get to the pit soon enough, and we'll get you tightened up.
Tough luck for Johnny Benson. Has just ducked onto pit road from 12th position after picking his way back up from the tire carrier getting knocked around earlier. Unscheduled stop for Benson. Let's go back to the Bobby Labonte thing a minute ago, buddy. Marty reported Bobby's running loose. You see in the in-car camera, Bobby's running a very high line on the racetrack as things continue to go bad for Benson. Is he running the high line to deal with the loose condition on the car? I mean, he's chasing it. Is he chasing it up the hill, or is he taking it up the hill to handle the loose car?
Exactly what he's doing. He's using a lot of racetrack there. He's not putting the car in a bind. If he turned it real steep into the corner, the back of the car would really react to being loose. So he's using a lot of racetrack and letting the front end lead him into the corner, then go up the racetrack, late apex, and then get back in the throttle easy and rock it down the straightaways.
Should have another round of pit stops coming up in just a short while. Let's take a commercial break. We'll come back with more of the UAW-GM Quality 500 at Charlotte on TBS.
The UAW-GM Quality 500 on the Superstation is brought to you by GoRVing.com. Visit GoRVing.com for a free video. By Circuit City, the official electronics and appliance store of Nascar. By Haviland Extended Life Antifreeze. Add more life to your car. And by Chevrolet, the cars millions of people depend on every day. Chevy, we'll be there.
Back at Charlotte, that was, for the remainder of this race until the checkered flag falls, our last traditional commercial break that you will see. Everything else will be our TBS no breaks coverage. We're here to the finish of the UAW-GM Quality 500. Johnny Benson was on pit road for an unscheduled pit stop a minute ago. Mike Hogwood can add. Mike?
Yeah, he felt a vibration on the right front. I might add that Ricky Rudd's crew has just called him down onto pit road.
Yeah, beginning to see all the leaders come in. Jeff Burton is on the pit lane. Mark Martin is in. Ward Burton has just been in. So beginning to see green flag pit stops here from some of the front runners. Here's Ricky Rudd, the race leader, diving off pit road, or off turn 4 onto pit road, I should say. This will be lap 245. 89 laps to go on the stop for the leader, Ricky Rudd. Let's go back to Mike Hogwood.
Early in the race, Ricky Rudd was 4 at the beginning of the run, great on the long run. Well, they made him great all the way through the run. Very slight air pressure change on the car as they move now around to the left side. On the car, John Bryan on the jack. Bobby Burrell, Ray Holmes, the tire changers down and away. 14th lap. Good stop for Ricky Rudd.
That's a great stop for Ricky Rudd. Wonderful work by his team. Dale Earnhardt is in. Jeremy Mayfield is in. Tony Stewart has just come onto the pit lane. Earnhardt down and away. Bobby Labonte's your leader. Tony Stewart heading down to the attention of his crew. Let's go to Marty Snyder.
And Tony Stewart is in. They've had a terrific day. The car is better on the longer run. Stewart slides into a pit stall. He's a little bit loose right now. They're going to go down, half around on the track bar. That will tighten him up, especially coming off of the corner, and that's where he needs the help. They throw the first can of fuel over. A little bit of trouble with the left rear. They're going to drop the jack here in just a second. Tony Stewart down and away, 15.5, a little longer than they would have liked.
Bobby Labonte took over the lead. The others in front of him stopped. Labonte's on pit road now. Bill Elliott had moved up to second. He is in. So Nemechek and Steve Park are other lead lap cars that have also stopped here under the green. Here's Bobby Labonte. Marty?
And Bobby Labonte is in. As we mentioned, the car, the worst it's been all day, a little bit looser than Bobby would like. It is loose all the way through the corners. They're going to add 1 pound to the right front. That should tighten him up just what he wants. Around to the left side right now. The slowest stop for these guys all day long. 15.3. They dropped the jack on this stop for Bobby Labonte. 15.5 on this stop.
Jimmy Spencer took over the lead for a lap while everybody else pitted. Now he's on the pit road. Matt Kenseth leads for the first time all day as Spencer comes to a stop in his pit. Travis Carter Racing Team going to work there. Great run for Spencer. We really haven't talked about him all day. Started well up in the 4th position, fell back some, and picked his way back up to the tail end of the top 10.
This race has been so important to Jimmy Spencer's career back in 1992 when it wasn't sure if he was going to have a Winston Cup deal. Driving this event, he finished in 4th spot. That helped secure a ride for him with Bobby Allison, and that's what put him into Winston Cup to stay.
Kenseth gives up the lead for pit road. Kevin LePage takes over the top spot. LePage and Elliott Sadler, the only 2 lead lap cars that have yet to visit pit road under this green flag cycle. There's Matt Kenseth, winner at Charlotte here, Memorial Weekend, live on TBS in the 600.
You can see him taking off the plastic shield over the windshield there. That's a tear-off sheet, just like you'd have on a motorcycle helmet. You just pull the plastic off, you got a clean windshield.
Kevin LePage gives up the racetrack to come down onto pit road. That's going to hand the lead. Tough stop there for Kenseth's team.
Yeah, slow in the left rear.
Hand the lead back to Ricky Rudd by a huge margin. That brilliant pit stop we saw Rudd's team a minute ago has gotten him a 4-second lead over Tony Stewart. Wow.
Well, that's what a terrific pit stop will do for you, in particular under green flag conditions. It's always important to have a good one, but under green can mean all the world.
And remember one other thing, there's not many people better on the road course than Ricky Rudd is. Getting out of the pits means a lot.
Looking at the interval from 1st back to 2nd, there's Stewart with Jeff Burton right behind him. Again, the interval between Rudd and Stewart, it's 3.6 seconds and change with 84 laps to go. So there'll be another round of pit stops yet to come. TBS No Brakes coverage continues from Charlotte. We'd like to know what you think about our TBS No Brakes coverage. Log on to TBSSuperstation.com or call us toll-free at that number, 1-888-722-1635. Lines will be open till 8 p.m. Eastern Time tonight, and we would very much value your opinion of our No Brakes coverage in today's race. Second spot has changed hands. Jeremy Mayfield is moving up. He is around Tony Stewart. Stewart and Burton swapped second spot for a minute ago. Now Burton losing 2 positions here in the last couple of laps. Let's get a follow-up. Mike Massaro.
And Alan, Jeff Burton came down pit road in 3rd, obviously 4th on the racetrack right now. Car was a little bit tight, so they did make a track bar adjustment. They went up 1 round there. They also put in a half a pound of pressure on the right rear tire, trying to free that car up just a little bit. They got him out in just under 16 seconds. A good stop for Jeff Burton.
Unfortunately, he's lost 2 positions here since he came back onto the racetrack. Now there's Rusty Wallace, was running 10th, but had to come back down pit road after his stop. There is a rule about where your tires have to be when you're done working on the car, and one of Rusty's was not in the prescribed place. It had rolled away from the team while they were changing the tires, so he had to come back in for a penalty, and it has dropped him all the way back to 25th position, a lap down. Worked so hard in the early part of the race to get the lap back. He lost with the tire that went down the left rear back at lap 64. Survived the damage from the wreck with Dale Jarrett at lap 180 that's mangled up the right rear so much. Still on the lead lap, still in position for a top 10. Not anymore.
But it's a good rule. It's a really good rule.
It's a great rule.
NASCAR has taken control of what the crews do with tires on pit road more so this year than ever before, and it has made pit road a much safer place to work. than it has ever been before.
There's the leader, Ricky Rudd. His advantage over Jeremy Mayfield, who's now the second-place car at 3.
The audience over the past 5 years has, according to the maestro, got younger. Much of this is to do with his introduction of special concerts.
Lap down to the race leader, Mike Massaro. What's up there?
Well, one of the areas where the number 3 team of Earnhardt has capitalized all afternoon has been right here on pit road. And once again...
Make them as imaginative possible. They last 1 hour. There are attractions in the Tonhalle beforehand.
They had said just a while ago that the car was a little bit tight in the middle of the corner. Well, that problem has seemed to have gone away. Kevin Hamlin also had radioed over to his driver that the tires look very good. We've documented throughout the afternoon that that has been a concern down here.
He's got more than that to be concerned with. Whoa!
There's 3 guys up here in the booth holding their breath, and Earnhardt watching Spencer almost get caught up with a lap car, and then Spencer get loose while Earnhardt was trying to get to his outside off of 4.
And we're just in the booth.
21st place, Michael Waltrip. Just now going a lap down. 73 laps to go. He's been on the lead lap for 261 circuits in this race. And he's finally going to have to give up the ghost to Ricky Rudd.
If you've been around Lowe's Motor Speedway for a long, long time, you may remember back in 1990, this team, the 28 team, changed an engine on race morning with Ernie Irvin as their driver. They won the race. In 1991, with Davey Allison as their driver, race morning, they changed an engine, won the race. Guess what they did this morning? Changed an engine.
Yeah, we watched them doing it and said, what are you doing? They said it's routine.
Get ready to win the race.
Taking on a little bit of a different tact at that team, and Bill Elliott, unscheduled pit stop, was running 9th.
He just can't get a break. Every time, I know, every time he gets a fast car, he's got a problem of one kind or another.
He was just in at lap 247. You see it's 262. It's 15 laps later. I'm going to suspect this is a wheel left loose. Marty Snyder, is it?
Well, and they think it might be either a wheel left loose or a flat tire. And what a tough race for these guys. They were having a good run. They were getting ready to mention that he was just now into the top 10, and Bill's had a good week. He finally got on one crutch and no crutches from his accident earlier a couple weeks ago. And we'll find out if it was indeed a flat tire or loose lug nuts.
All right, we'll get that follow-up report from Marty very shortly. Elliott's going to go at least 1 lap down. And the better part of 2 as leader Ricky Rudd comes up to overtake him as he leaves pit road. 70 laps to go in the UAW-GM Quality 500 at Charlotte. TBS No Brakes Racing continues. See what life is like on the track direct from those who do the driving. Check out Winston Cup Diaries from Jeff Burton and Jeremy Mayfield at CNNSI.com. There's Ricky Rudd, the leader. Jeremy Mayfield is 1 second behind him and closing. Mayfield running about a half a mile an hour faster each of the last few laps. Then Ricky Rudd trying to chase him down and coming back to cap off what has been an interesting day. He pitted under the green flag. Bill Elliott's got troubles.
Where that engine let go, it'll be interesting to see whether he got off the racetrack in time not to bring out a yellow.
No caution yet. Is it an engine? Is he still under power?
Well, it was smoking pretty badly. You can see it there.
We'll find out here if he takes the left. Yep, all done.
Right in the garage. It's the end of it.
Elliott to join Robbie Gordon, Jeff Gordon, Dale Jarrett, Jeff Fuller, Hutch Strickland, and Mike Bliss in the garage area. Now, we're starting to say Jeremy Mayfield is closing on Ricky Rudd. Mayfield went a lap down early in the race with an unscheduled pit stop at lap 81. Made up the lap, has come back through the field, is trying to end a terrible streak of luck. He has failed to finish the last 6 straight races. In Winston Cup competition, Mike Hogwood is with Mayfield's crew chief.
Yeah, Peter Suspenzo, what's been the big difference? You're really gaining some now on Ricky Rudd. Can you catch him?
Well, I think we might have a shot at getting him, but we still got 1 pit stop to go. And like this whole team's learned all year, it's not always doing checkered flag fall. So we'll just try to do the best we can and hopefully get the last 334 and race Ricky for their win.
You're making big gains on it. You said to me taking 4 tires made a difference, didn't it?
Yeah, we need to get a little track position on that one caution. That's why we took 2 tires on. That got us track position back, and then we were able to get 4 on that green flag run. So that's why we run a little bit better now.
Watch out for Jeremy Mayfield.
Caution is out. Caution for oil in turn 3 from Bill Elliott's engine. Yellow flag, number 8, with 62 laps to go.
Oh, boy. It comes down to this. Everybody will get tired and make that final adjustment, and then it's no holds barred from then on.
And this is the one pit stop, the one most important pit stop where the crews really have got to perform. Get your guy out first now, may win you the race.
Huge break the caution flag is for most of the guys that have contended for the win all day that have fallen behind. Bobby Labonte was up there all day, had fallen back 9 seconds behind in 6th spot. Dale Earnhardt all the way down in 11th position. They get a chance to get a fresh set of tires on the car. It would be the final fuel stop, and so the track position off these pit stops is going to be huge. Stops will come with 60 laps to go. It'll be Rudd, Mayfield, Stewart, Burton, and Burton. The order going on to the pit lane, followed by Bobby Labonte, Johnny Benson, who's picked his way back up to 7th spot.
I'm telling you, just keep showing up.
Steve Park, Joe Nemechek, and Jimmy Spencer. Then Earnhardt, Martin, Kenson, Skinner, Kurt Busch. Haven't talked about him all day. He's on the lead lap in 15th spot.
Incredible for a rookie to come to Charlotte and stay in the lead lap.
He's the real thing.
Yeah. The other 4 lead lap drivers are LePage, Sadler, Andretti, and Mast. 19 on the lead lap in all. Well, here we go. Head-to-head on pit road. 60 laps to go. The top 3 in the triple box. The general picture on your right. Rudd, Mayfield, and Stewart heading to their stalls.
Ricky Rudd's crew coming around to the right side. About even with the 12 car. They are pitting nose to tail on pit road.
Little hang up there on the right rear on the 20 car of Tony Stewart.
Rudd get out ahead of Mayfield. Watch for Stewart. See if he pops out here. Here's Stewart. It's going to be Rudd and Mayfield. Going to get out cleanly ahead of him.
Well, they didn't lose anything. Even though they had the little problem, he still came out in 3rd. He went in 3rd and came out in 3rd. Tony Stewart.
Nothing much changes up front off of the pit stops. Everybody gets a chance to regroup and go back after it when we get the restart momentarily. Cleanup underway. Bill Elliott apparently dropping oil out in turn 3. Yellow number 8 on the UAW-GM Quality 500 at Charlotte. Big cleanup up in turn 3. The oil from Bill Elliott's car forcing the blowers out onto the racetrack, so we're going to be under caution for another couple of moments here in the UAW-GM Quality 500. Final pit stops, barring another yellow, have been made, and Ricky Rudd's team holds the lead for him. Mike Hogwood is with his crew chief. Mike?
We're with Michael McSwain. I'll ask you what you do on that pit stop. How confident are you down the stretch of this race here?
We got a pretty good race car. Jeremy seems to be real fast at the beginning of the race, but it seems like we can come on pretty good later on. We'll just see if Rooster can do his magic out here.
Is this the best you've been all year?
No, we've run this good a couple races, so it's always seemed to be a circumstance that knocks us out of our win.
It's been a strong team with a lot of top 5s. They're hoping for that number 1 today. Marty Snyder?
Well, Tony Stewart came in 3rd, out 3rd with a 15.6 stop. The car a little bit loose. They added a ½ pound to the left rear tire. That should tighten him up a little bit getting into the corner. They went down 3/4 of a round on the track bar. That should help them getting off the corner just a little bit. Now, they're not as good on the long runs as Ricky Rudd, so they're a little bit worried about this long run that we have to finish the race, but they think they'll be okay, and they think they still have a shot at the win.
Stewart running in 3rd under caution as the cleanup continues here at Charlotte. 58 laps to go in what has been a thrilling UAW-GM Quality 500. 43 lead changes in the race. If you will log on to TBSSuperstation.com today, you can get a bird's eye view from the driver's perspective. In-car camera looks like that one from Elliott Sadler's car, should he happen to be your favorite driver. It's only at TBSSuperstation.com. We have had a whale of a race so far today. 43 lead changes, 13 different drivers. If you're just tuning in, I'm sorry, because it's been spectacular.
You have missed something if you're just tuning in. This may well be the best race of the year so far, and the best part of it is yet to come.
Been following the championship contenders for the NASCAR Winston Cup title So far during our race today, here's Jeff Burton. You see he ran from 38th up to the lead, now is running 5th. His season, well, it's been a pretty solid one, though it's had its bumps along the way. This was one of the high spots, a win at Daytona, July 1st, in the 400 there. He went toe-to-toe with the rival for the title, Bobby Labonte. At New Hampshire in September, came out on top to score the victory, but it's had its down moments as well. This is March in Atlanta. Jeff Burton is leading the race, cuts a tire and slams the wall hard in turn 3, escapes injury, but is quite peeved at his ill fortune. Then Dover, just a couple of weeks ago, lap 186, running second, slams the outside wall. It has left Jeff Burton 227 points behind Bobby Labonte coming into today's race with 6 to go in the season. Our look at the contenders and how they have fared today. Bobby Labonte, championship leader, running in 6th place right now. He's been in the top 3 or 4 all race long. This is about the worst he's run all day. Dale Earnhardt, ditto, led a lot of the race early, fallen all the way back to 16th, worst he's run all day. Burton up to 5th. Dale Jarrett with a big crash at lap 180, and he's out of the race. Let's go to the Bobby Labonte pit right now.
Well, the biggest thing fighting Bobby Labonte for most of the last couple runs has been track position. Jimmy Maycar, you've struggled with the car, but now you finally got back up to where you can get to some guys.
Well, that's true. We haven't been our typical selves at Charlotte here all day. We don't seem to have the speed. It's not that the car's not driving very well. We don't have the speed we need on early runs. And the longer we run, the better the car is. If people give up, we actually maintain good speed. So we need the long run here at the end, obviously. But we got hung up in some traffic there trying to pass some guys that were a little tough to pass, this last run, and got us a little farther behind the leaders than we really needed to be. But I think our car's a little better than where it's at right now. Hopefully we've made an adjustment here this time, and we get a long run and maybe have something for them.
Track position was the killer for you. Now that you're at them, can you pass them and get to the front, though?
That's a good question. I hope we can. Like I said, early in a run, I don't think we're going to have a lot for a couple of guys there, but hopefully this thing will go green, like I said, and as their tires go away, we can race them there at the end.
All right, let's go to Mike Massaro.
And Bill Elliott, it looked like it was such a solid afternoon. You had run in the top 10 all day, but when things fell apart, they fell apart in a hurry. What happened those last few laps?
Well, I ended up cutting a left rear tire down, and I knew something was wrong, so I came in, we got that addressed, went back out. You know, we still felt like we'd be okay because everybody else was going to still have to make another stop if it went green. I was kind of in a little bit of trouble if it hadn't been, but, you know, all in all, you know, we started down the back straight away, the engine let go, and, you know, it's just, man, I tell you what, I don't know what it is, you know. It's a shame that, you know, I'm going down to the end of owning my deal, and I wanted to run good and finish the year out real well, and I just can't have any luck. I mean, every time we turn around, we've had some sort of problem, something's going wrong, and just can't never make that break.
And Bill Elliott mentioned the bad luck. It's particularly bad here in Charlotte for the second straight event. He finishes with engine problems back in the pack.
8th race this season, Bill Elliott has failed to finish. Check this stat out. The last NASCAR Winston Cup Series race with more than 40 lead changes. 1989, July, Talladega. Wow. We have had 43 of them so far here today, and we may not be done yet.
No, I can guarantee it, because there is so many great race cars, not just the leaders you're looking at there. I just tell you, when they drop this green flag, we're going to find out who has the muscle, because all the strategies behind us now. No more conserving fuel, worried about anything. Go for it.
53 to go. Green flag. Rusty Wallace is a lap down. He's just taken 20th spot from Michael Waltrip. Came back from a lap down earlier in the race, then got in the wreck with Dale Jarrett, then had a penalty. Trying to get back on the lead lap now if he can and salvage somewhat of a finish.
I'm sure Jeremy would like for this to end pretty quick here so he can make a run at Rusty Wallace. At Rudd. As they come down the front straightaway, you're riding with Tony Stewart, and he's looking them both over. He's trying to get up there because he knows he had the fast car at the start of the run.
He also knows about a dozen cars left in this race that are fast enough to win it. So getting track position right now is a definite advantage.
Jerry Nadeau's car has been retired from the race. Bill Elliott is out. 8 cars now behind the wall. And out of this one with 52 laps to go. Rusty going to take a peek to get that lap back on Rudd. If he gets that inside lane, you know Mayfield's going with him.
He's going to try to get the inside groove going into turn 1, and that'll be interesting if he does, whether his teammate will be able to follow him. Rudd closes the door and does not let him by.
A little bit farther back in the pack, Dale Earnhardt trying to rally back. Just took 13th spot away from Jimmy Spencer, but Earnhardt in the top 3 for much of this race. He's got a long way to go to catch back up, and not a lot of laps left to do it. There's Dale. Mayfield around Wallace, so Rusty gives up the chase after trying to get the lap back.
And Mayfield's able to make that car work on the high side, so don't be surprised if he takes the lead on the high side of the 28 of Ricky Rudd.
44-year-old Ricky Rudd leading this race, hasn't won in 2 years. Best chance to win a race right now, today, in his own backyard. Lowe's Motor Speedway in Charlotte. Been strong all day long, never more strong than he is right now.
He's finished third, and fourth the last 3 races. Yeah, you know, there's an old saying that says if you keep finishing in the top 5, you'll win. You just keep, Travis Carter and I were talking about that this morning. You just keep finishing in the top 5. You're putting yourself in position to win. Rudd's been doing that. It's just a matter of time before he gets a victory.
Absolutely. You hang around the door long enough, you'll get in, and he knows that. And he's got himself in great position.
Burton Brothers racing for 4th and 5th. Ward in 4th in the yellow and black car, the 22 machine. Brother Jeff in 5th in the 99. Bobby Labonte certainly having the better day than his older brother Terry. Bobby in 6th position. And Terry back in 26th at this point.
Well, Terry's just had a terrible, terrible year this year. He just can't seem to get going. Every time he's got a decent car, that's what happens. He winds up at the back of the pack at the end.
Dad having a little bit better day than Junior. Junior a lap down in 21st. Although Dad's day's not going all that well right now. For a guy that had been up there wrestling for the win for a lot of this race, he's got the worst track position he's had all day. And it's time to decide it. He's losing points right now. Rusty Wallace there. Kenny Wallace involved in a crash back at lap number 87 when he cut a right front tire, hit the wall in turn 3. He's back on the racetrack, but he's about 50 laps down.
Yeah, we may see a third Wallace at Winston Cup next year. Mike Wallace is one of the definite contenders for the number 7 ride. And he is lobbying hard for that ride as well. So we have 3 Wallace brothers on the Speedway.
Well, and that's the Smith car, so he drives the custom truck for that same team. It would make sense that they would move him up into the Winston Cup side.
That's just what he said yesterday to me.
There you have it.
Same thing.
He thought it made sense out here. Haven't seen much of the sun all day, getting a little bit of a shadow on some of those cars when they come off at turn 4.
This will drive him nuts.
We talked about at the very top of our show how moody this racetrack is, changing with weather conditions, the grip the car gets, what the car wants to drive optimally on the Speedway changes with the weather. Most of the teams were hoping the overcast would stay all day because it would keep that moodiness out of things, but look at this in the final laps.
Yeah, and Ricky Rudd just has a great car. Here's 2 brothers going at it down the front straightaway. Ward Burton in the 22, and on the outside there, Jeff Burton looks like he's taking that spot away.
Yep, giving each other about 2 inches coming off the corner.
That's all you need.
Oh, yeah. At 185 miles an hour, 2 inches.
As long as one of you doesn't slip, it's all.
Yeah. Ward Burton on a resurgence right now. He had 3 top 5s in the first 6 races this year. None since. The team got together a couple of weeks ago. They had a big sit-down with each other and said, come on, guys, let's all get it back together again. And they are having a terrific run this afternoon in Charlotte.
Marty Snyder can tell us more on Ward Burton's day.
And the battling between the brothers is something they say is very tenuous, but something they have the most fun with on the racetrack. They worry a lot about wrecking each other, actually, and it's been a terrific day for Ward. They have run very solidly all day long. The car has been tight most of the day, but on that last run, it freed up just where Ward wanted it. On the last pit stop, no adjustments, and they are very happy with the car right now. They think they have something that can contend for a top 5, and considering these guys have 3 straight DNFs, top 5 would be pretty nice right now. Let's go to Mike Massaro.
And the Citgo team of Jeff Burton has been thrashing all weekend long trying to get the car right. It appears to be working. Frank Stoddard, what's Jeff saying right now?
Well, I'm just trying to get him to conserve tires a little bit. It's unfortunate. It looks like we've got a little bit of a tire problem here again today. Real disappointed with that. We're having to race the tires, not be able to race the competition right now. But I'm sure Goodyear's working on that real hard. I hope they get it fixed. It's real difficult to race like this. But we got a pretty good car, you know, just trying to bide our time. I'd really like to see a caution here with about 30 to go. We can really go racing this thing.
Jeff Burton in contention for yet another victory this year. For the 9th straight race, he's led.
So with tires getting bolted on at 60 laps to go, what I'm hearing from Frank there is a reluctance to just lay it all out on that right front for a full, almost 100-mile run.
Well, why not after what happened at Dover, where they lost the right front, hammered the wall, got the fire after that? Sure, they're a little bit snake-bit. They're a little bit concerned about it.
Yeah. Ricky Rudd maintaining his lead over Jeremy Mayfield. Not much of one, but it is a lead.
Pretty impressive, though, when they really had to put the hammer down. I thought Jeremy Mayfield had been so much stronger than Ricky Rudd for the first 8 to 10 laps into a run. Not so this time.
40 laps to go. It'll be 39 as they cross the stripe this time. A little farther back, Johnny Benson trying to pick his way back up through. Mark Martin, Steve Park, Matt Kenseth all having solid days. Here comes that whole group right here. Bobby Labonte, the point leader, running in 6th. Benson in 7th, trying to get 6th from Labonte. He's come back from the back, what, 3 times today?
He'd probably be 2 laps ahead if it weren't for the problems that he has been through today. Johnny Benson's just have a day he will surely remember. Put this one in the scrapbook, John.
Some of the cars here, a lap or more down. Flashing by the camera. Here's Tony Stewart, 3rd place driver, trying to win 3 straight races in the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. Last time that was done, back in 1998. The man to do it was the Rainbow Warrior, Jeff Gordon. Summer of 98 is when it happened. Started at Pocono, live on TBS. He took the victory over Mark Martin that day to begin the hot streak. A couple of weeks later, it is off to Indianapolis, where he scored the win once again over Martin, this time under caution at the end of the Brickyard 400. He capped the three-peat at Watkins Glen. Different venue, the road course this time. Result was the same, Gordon over Martin. Taking the checkered flag in that race, the last time a NASCAR Winston Cup driver has won 3 straight races. Stewart's got to get the giddy up a little bit faster here if he's going to catch Rudd and Mayfield.
Well, he just made an important move. He got by Rusty Wallace there, and now only the 2 lead cars are up in front of him. You can see going through the corner there, his hands are a little busy, but not as busy as we have seen other drivers in the corner. Tony Stewart, I think, waited a few laps. Now he's going to try to turn it on, but he's got 2 great race cars in front of him to try to catch.
Lap speed, Stewart's a little bit slower than the top 2 cars. Mayfield catching Ricky Rudd a little bit here. Let's find out more from pit road. Mike Hogwood.
Well, he is gaining on him, but as crew chief Peter Suspinzo said, just be careful, stay there, ride there, and remember Pocono, where he was 2nd on the last lap and had a dramatic victory.
Had a dramatic loss is what he did when the tire went away half a lap from the checkered flag.
Exactly. Going into the tunnel turn there, the right front let go. Beat the right front off the car, and he just fell straight backwards. Rusty Wallace won the race, his teammate.
Saw that one live here on TBS.
Well, Hog may have also been talking about the one that he won at the very tail end, where he got into it with Earnhardt on the last lap.
Our scheduled pit stop for Mike Skinner was on the lead lap, is no longer, as the top 2 come by the start-finish line in Skinner's car on pit road.
Yeah, I can tell you one thing. If he goes to the last lap with Ricky Rudd is one of the best at that bump and run himself, so he stands up for himself pretty well. It'll be interesting if these 2 cars come down towards the end there to see who wins.
Burton starting to catch Stewart a little bit for 3rd spot, with Burton trying to deal with the Rusty Wallace lap car.
You saw Ward, his brother, still behind him.
There's Jeff Burton down low there. Ward, Bobby Labonte, Johnny Benson, Steve Park.
I don't think the talk that they just had between Stoddard and Burton really worked out, because he's turned it up. He's one of the fastest cars out there right now.
What a terrific job today for Kurt Busch in only his 3rd Winston Cup race. Mike Massaro, he's doing a great job.
Absolutely incredible job right now, Alan. He's only 22 years old. This is his 3rd Winston Cup race. We've already saw his potential in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, where he's run in the top 3 in points most of the season, has collected 3 wins there himself. He started 42nd this afternoon. Actually took a provisional, but has made his way up to 16th. This team very happy with what Kurt Busch has shown so far.
One of 18 cars on the lead lap. Kurt Busch is doing a terrific job in his first outing here at Charlotte. Getting down to the settling laps of the race. TBS No Brakes Racing continues in a minute.
.306 laps complete. 3:34 the distance. Caution on the speedway once again. Here at Lowe's Motor Speedway with Ricky Rudd leading. Debris from Wally Dallenbach's car brings out this caution that'll bunch the field for that final run to the finish. I must tell you, one of the most impressive things I've watched all day is this effort by the Joe Gibbs team, that number 18, and Bobby Labonte. Consider this. In the history of NASCAR Winston Cup racing, we've had a father and son combination win in the championship, but we've never had brothers. And Terry Labonte has won it twice, and now his younger brother is right on the verge of taking the championship. Let's go back topside with Alan Bestwick.
Well, you saw during our TBS No Brakes coverage the caution. Wally Dallenbach had popped the wall in turn 3. Debris on the racetrack. Crucial pit stops. 28 to go. Will anybody get just 2 tires? Will anybody get just fuel? Let's watch. Mayfield, 2 tires. Burton might have gotten 2.
Rudd took on 4, it looks like.
Mark Martin gets 2. Looks like Matt Kenseth gets 2. Joe Nemechek gets 2. Elliott Sadler gets 2, I believe. Oh, this is going to jumble everything up. Let's check that. I think I said Jeff Burton. He got 4 from where he came out. But Mayfield's team throwing the dice. 2 tires. He's going to have the lead.
We've done this before. We said Jeff Gordon one time did this, and we said there's no way he can win the race. He went on to win the race with just a 2-tire change.
Mike Hogwood covered the Mayfield stop. Mike?
Yep, indeed they did. They took 2 tires. Peter Suspenzo. Let me get it. Why only 2, Peter?
Well, we think we're a little bit too tight on those 4 tires, so we thought 2 tires might free us up a little bit, and we knew all the guys were going to 2-tire stop, so we hope we get out first and have a couple of guys behind us before the guys with 4 tires were.
And I can tell you, Ricky Rudd said he had lost half a second on those old tires. He had to take 4. They did take 4, but he's got some work to do now.
And Peter Suspenzo's wish has come true because a total of 5 teams, my count, will get confirmation from pit road, but by my scan of things, 5 cars took 2 tires. Mayfield, Martin, Kenseth, Nemechek, and Sadler. Ricky Rudd will come out 6th. Tony Stewart 7th, Bobby Labonte 8th, Jeff Burton 9th, and Ward Burton 10th, all on 4 tires.
And Johnny Benson in 10th, yeah. I tell you what, he passed more cars than anybody, but he's still hung up in 10th spot.
So we're going to get our pit reporters to double check here and just make sure. We know Mayfield got rights only. We'll check on Martin, Kenseth, Nemechek, and Elliott Sadler, but I'm pretty positive they only got right side tires.
And Rudd definitely took 4.
Yeah.
No question about that.
So the big mix here thrown into the equation as the stops came with 27 laps to go. There are the pit performance numbers, and obviously some of those guys losing those spots because of the 5 teams changing just right sides. Mike Massaro has an update on Jeff Burton's pit stop.
And a strong stop down here, Alan. A 14.2-second 4-tire stop. Also took on a full load of fuel. Keep in mind, though, something to watch. They've been watching that on good, brand-new tires. The car's been a little bit tight, but on the long runs, the car really seems to come to Jeff Burton. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the next 26 laps.
Short run and 9 positions from the lead. He's 9th right now. So he's got a long... Frank Stoddard, when we talked to him before, was hoping for a caution with 30 to go. He got it. Now is it going to help or hurt?
Well, the one thing he can do now, he can run the high line or low line because he'll have great grip on the race car with 4 new tires.
Well, he's got 3... What, 1, 2, 3 in front of him with 4 tires as well, and then the 5 on right sides only.
A moment ago, you saw the 12's pit box, Mayfield's pit box, the big sign, total focus. That's their point of view.
Getting confirmation from our pit reporters that Kenseth and Elliott Sadler did take 2 tires. We'll follow up on Mark Martin and Joe Nemechek in a moment. Well, what do you think about Suspenzo's call here to get the 2? He was running 2nd, right? He was right behind Rudd. Got the 2 tires, got the lead. Now he's got to hold everybody off.
I'll tell you, this year there have been no guarantees. They just asked Rusty Wallace about all that stuff here in the number 2 car. He has won and he has lost by taking 4 tires and 2 tires this year. Absolutely no guarantees, but I tell you, I like Rudd's chances. Starting out in 6th spot with 4 new tires on his car. We got a long ways to go. It's a 334-lap event. 309 down so far. Stick around. Nobody knows.
What I'm looking at, Mark Martin has, we know now that he took on 2 tires on that last stop, but he has some front end damage to the left front corner of that car. Now, whether that'll hurt him or not, I don't know.
All right. Well, it's going to be interesting. We're down to settle it. 2 cars on the tail end of the lead lap. Check that 1 car on the tail end of the lead lap in front of Mayfield. That's Mike Skinner, 19th position for him. Restart with 24 laps to go. It's going to be wild.
It's been wild all day. It's about to get wilder as this thing comes close to the checkered flag.
That puts Rusty Wallace back on the lead lap, puts Dale Earnhardt Jr. back on the lead lap if he can stay in front of Mayfield.
Earnhardt Jr.'s had a great car. For the last 2 or 3 stops, he's been one of the quickest cars out there. Just terrible position by losing laps earlier in the race.
Wally Dallenbach's car has gone to the garage. It has been retired from the race after the contact with the wall in turn 3 that dropped the debris and brought out the yellow. By the way, Joe Nemechek did get right side tires, so the first 5 on the restart, only getting 2 tires. Mayfield's going to try and get back around Dale Earnhardt Jr., the 21st place car.
He's got a big grit in his teeth, too, because he's having to run very high on the racetrack because there's other cars down low.
If we go back and look at Ricky Rudd, he's about to lose a spot to Tony Stewart. Stewart has got Rudd pinned in traffic. Here they come into turn 1. Stewart up the outside of Rudd. Bobby Labonte up the outside of Rudd. Ricky's caught behind the Dick Trickle car. This is going to get touchy. Well, he's not going to be patient there for long. Look at this.
Oh, boy. Well, Jeff Burton thinks he's got the right line. He just dropped in behind Ricky Rudd. He's going to follow Rudd instead of his brother.
Rudd's going to go 3 wide here any minute. He can't stay behind Trickle for long. He can't be there.
The Elliott Sadler in the 21 there, he's one of the guys that took on 2 tires. He's going backwards right now. The 4-tire regime is on a run, but do they have time to catch Mayfield? That's the question.
Well, discretion being the better part of valor there for Rudd. He'll keep it double wide. Elliott Sadler losing position. Stewart is by him for 5th. Bobby Labonte by him for 6th. Here comes Ward Burton for 7th. Done.
Well, that's the price you pay for taking 4 tires. You wind up at the back of the pack and you can get yourself jammed up with a whole bunch of cars you don't want to mess with. There, he's broken clear now.
20 laps to go. Riding with Ward Burton. 7th place car. Hear the engine hit the rev limiter there?
Yes, I did. They got a gear in there. It's probably turning 9,000.
Fresh tires, too. That'll run the engine as hard as it's going to go because the car will go as fast as it can go.
And it's a great day for racing also. Cool conditions on the race course. And that's why I think we've had such a great race. These guys have been going at it since the green flag.
We are up to 45 lead changes in this one.
Amazing.
Mayfield out front. He's gotten away from Mark Martin. Mark has got a couple of lap cars between himself and the leader. Rusty Wallace and Michael Waltrip have slipped in there. Matt Kenseth up to 3rd. Then these cars with the 4 fresh tires trying to thunder through the field. Nemechek losing positions there. He got 2 on the pit stop. He's been overtaken by Ward Burton. Martin around Michael Waltrip there. Here comes Kenseth. Haven't talked about him all day. Very briefly.
Hasn't been a factor.
Nope.
Until now.
Got 2 tires on his stop to get track position.
You can see the car there. Kenseth's car went up the racetrack almost into the wall. He had the wheels turned left. The car took off to the right. He was lucky not to get into the outside wall.
Look at the lead change figures there. Just 2 away from the record that has stood since 1974. And we've only had, what, 1 round of full green flag pit stops. Those numbers not artificially inflated. We have had lead change after lead change and great competition on the racetrack.
Bobby
Change
Labonte, he just got by that last corner there. He got by Matt Kenseth.
Third spot. Labonte now, he's the first car on the 4 fresh tires. So far the pit stop has worked in his favor at this point. You are watching the closing moments of the UAW-GM Quality 500 from Charlotte, live on TBS Superstation. Alan Bestwick here with Dick Berggren and Buddy Baker. A phenomenal race all afternoon long. 45 lead changes. On the last set of pit stops, Jeremy Mayfield took just 2 tires. He in second place, Mark Martin, trying to hold off a fast-closing Bobby Labonte, who got 4 fresh on his stop and is charging hard. Labonte up on Martin's back bumper and running 2 miles an hour faster than Jeremy Mayfield on the last lap.
Jeremy Mayfield's got to just hope and pray right now that the cars in between he and Labonte give Labonte a little bit of problems, because he is flying. He can run anywhere he wants to on the racetrack much quicker than everybody else through the corner.
Dale Earnhardt running well most of the race, has fallen back. He's in 12th position, losing ground to Bobby Labonte, who's in 3rd. Earnhardt about to take 11th from Joe Nemechek. Earnhardt's car not behaving in the final laps nearly like it did in the beginning. Here's second spot, Bobby Labonte under Mark Martin.
3 second-place finishes in a row here.
And if you're looking at that face on the front of Bobby Labonte's car, Frankenstein looked like he smiled in. That car is really hauling it through the corners.
Last lap, Bobby Labonte slightly, that's about even with Mayfield on the last lap while he was passing Martin. We'll see what it is this time in a clear racetrack. He has eaten him up.
Now, as he leaned on those 4 tires and maybe got them a little warm, this thing might level out here as they get closer to the finish.
Ricky Rudd, the big loser, by the caution flag. Falling back to 5th position, trying to take 4th from Tony Stewart. He'll get it into the corner.
But does he have enough time to get to the front? 12 to go.
Now, he's all done. Rudd's all done. He's 2.5 seconds back without the caution flag. The trick right now is, does Bobby Labonte have enough time? 1 mile an hour faster than Mayfield on the last lap. 11 to go when they come this time.
I've been in that spot before, and you're looking in the mirror, and the crew's telling you, get on it, and you're doing everything you can. You see them fast closing like that.
2 miles an hour faster than Mayfield on the last lap. There'll be 10 to go when they come back around. Jimmy Maycar and Butch Hilton right and left of your screen. The crew chief and car chief for Bobby Labonte's team looking on. It's all in the hands of their driver now. Ten laps to go in the race.
Rusty Wallace just in front of Labonte now. I'm sure that Rusty will let him go by on the inside there, moving out of the way, giving way the way you should do. He did not hold him up.
This is going to be close. Let's check quickly in the leader's pits. Mike Hogwood.
Well, the car of Jeremy Mayfield's a little bit tight right now. They're encouraging him from here to hold on, drive the wheels off of that car. Is it enough? Doesn't look like it right now. They know that Bobby Labonte is faster. So Marty Snyder.
And Bobby Labonte is faster. Now, last year in the Coca-Cola 600, Bobby Labonte lost the race because what Jimmy Maycar said was a mistake on his part. On the last stop, they did not go all the way up on air pressures. When they start a run, they start on low air pressure. Maycar made the mistake. He started the air pressure too low. Jeff Burton's crew chief, Frank Stoddard, started the air pressures high. Today, Maycar did not make that mistake. He started the air pressures high on the beginning of this run. He said, Bobby, go for it. And Bobby is doing that right now and catching Jeremy Mayfield. Let's go to Alan Bestwick.
Labonte is there. 8 laps to go. He's going to look outside on Jeremy Mayfield and try and get the run off of turn number 2.
Jeremy moves out to the outside wall, giving him no corners there as they head down towards turn 3. He has to pick a groove that Mayfield doesn't go to get by.
Driving in on the outside. Mayfield's going to shut him off. Here he comes. Labonte's in there. Here comes Bobby Labonte. Draws alongside Jeremy Mayfield. 7 laps to go in the race.
Well, that's the answer to the 4-tire question right there. He goes by on the outside.
Mayfield's not done yet.
Not done yet. This is not over yet. Mayfield charging back on the bottom. Labonte on the high side.
4 tires is going to win out. Bobby Labonte to the lead. The folks jumping up and down in the grandstand. 6 laps to go.
Alan, one thing he's got to do, though, he has the lead right now, but he has lap traffic that's going to play into this thing. He has to do the right thing. It's his race to lose right now. He's much quicker.
We talked about it being Bobby Labonte's championship to lose. At the top of our broadcast, winning races is a fine way to win a championship.
Oh, boy. Well, with a lot of pride winning a championship this way. He's had a brilliant drive today. He's been at the front of the field all day long, driven smart, driven hard, driven fast, driven well.
Ricky Rudd by Mark Martin for 3rd. Jeff Burton running in 6th. Dale Earnhardt 11th. Only showing you cars in the lead lap now in our timing and scoring box at the upper left of the screen. 20 of them there.
Bobby's just taking off now.
More to go.
Bobby's sectioned it out. Has about a 20-car length lead right now. They're battling back in the field, though. A lot of positions changing. Right now, Mark Martin trying to hold on. Tony Stewart going by on the inside. 4 fresh tires is winning out right now.
Ooh, that was close. Stewart came up a little fast. 4th place for Tony Stewart. Mark taking just right side tires on his last pit stop. Good gamble for Mark's team. Nothing to lose for them.
What, he hadn't given up either. You can see Mark Martin really applying the pressure, hoping he can make the 20-car Tony Stewart a little bit loose by running right up under him in the corner.
Jeff Burton on 4 fresh tires, going to try and gain a couple of spots and minimize the point damage to Bobby Labonte. It'll be 5th if he can get it from Martin. While Labonte's leading, Earnhardt is 11th. Jarrett went out at lap 180. In a crash, he's going to finish 40th. Bobby Labonte puts Mike Skinner a lap down. 20th place driver. 2 laps to go as he crosses the stripe. Labonte got wins earlier this season at Rockingham in February, Indianapolis in August, and the Southern 500 at Darlington Labor Day weekend, trying to make it number 4 on the season. Less than 3 miles from the checkered flag. A dramatic charge from the final pit stops that came at lap 307 of 334. His team taking 4 tires. He came out back in the second half of the top 10. Charged his way up through the traffic faster than Stewart or Rudd, who also got pinned back there with him could. Now he's 1 lap from victory lane. White flag is down for Bobby Labonte. Pontiac has not won here at Charlotte since 1990, when Rusty Wallace did it. This man has finished 2nd the last 3 straight times here. Final corners for Bobby Labonte. Try to win a championship the best way you can. You get the most points by winning the race. Checkered flag is up. Bobby Labonte wins at Charlotte. Joe Gibbs, Norm Miller from Interstate Batteries there.
That's a crew and a team that deserves to celebrate. What a year they have had so far.
What a job, what a day.
Oh, boy.
And the most satisfying kind of win. You rally to the front late.
Look at this. Look at this.
This is the team prayer. Joe Gibbs, a very devout man. His whole team following in that philosophy. And Bobby Labonte rolling to victory lane. Taking congratulations from others around him. That was his teammate Tony Stewart he was just waving to. For Bobby Labonte, his 2nd win here at Charlotte. He won the Coca-Cola 600 back in 1995. Let's hear from Bobby Labonte's crew chief, Jimmy Maycar.
And what a win for Jimmy Maycar. Talk about the 4-tire stop. Did you know when you made it, it was the right way to go?
Well, you know, we've been beat here both ways before. We've gotten 2 and got beat by 4. We've gotten 4 and got beat by 2. And we just, you know, just thought that the 4 tires were going to be the right way to go here. It really wasn't a question in my mind or Bobby's that that's what we needed with 25 laps to go. I didn't think our car would go well on 2 tires, and it proved to be the right thing to do. You know, we talked about air pressure changes we might make there at the end, and what we decided to do, I guess, was the right thing to do. And the car was good, you know, when it needed to be.
A huge statement for the championship. What did you say to Bobby on the radio afterwards?
I just told him I was very, very proud of him. He's a great little race car driver. It's just, you know, he never gives up. He doesn't. You know, he's always thinking. He's always digging. And, you know, we make changes to the very end. And, you know, I'm really proud of him for that he doesn't give up. And it's just, I think, what this whole race team's about. You know, there was points in the race here today that we looked like we might get a top 5 out of this thing. But we kept tweaking on the car. And Bobby kept trying lines, different lines around the racetrack. And things came together for us when they needed to.
In 1996, brother Terry won at Charlotte, went on to win the Winston Cup Championship. Today, Bobby Labonte puts the first nail in the coffin.
Jimmy Makar kind of got revenge here this weekend at Charlotte. He had his car towed here at the racetrack last night. Took him till 10 o'clock last night to find it and get home. He took the biggest share of the promoter's money home today. Joe Gibbs, Pat Gibbs heading to victory lane. Terrific. Joe is a world-class man, and it will be a great thing to see him, if they're able to do it over the final 5 races, win a NASCAR Winston Cup Championship. He's put so much into making his team a title contender. Stay with us. All the post-race coverage you want. We'll talk to all of the top finishers. We'll have the full rundown for you on the finishing order, including a visit with our winner, Bobby Labonte. As we take a look at the skyline of Charlotte, some sunshine finally peeking through here in the Queen City. Labonte, Mayfield, Rudd, Stewart, and Martin, the top 5. And let's go to the winner's circle. Here's Ken Squire.
And here's Bobby Labonte. Talk about someone racing their way into a title, climbing out of the car after a tremendous victory here today. The champion, no question about it. What a performance. Bobby, congratulations on a great run. That was just spectacular.
Well, thank you. I tell you what, the guys did a great job. I mean, we started second, and a lot of good cars out there all day long. We had a heck of a battles all day long. And then there at the end, you know, we didn't have the fastest car. We were a little too loose, and we tightened up a little bit. And Jeremy had a real fast race car, but I guess he only got 2 tires. So these guys were great.
Final pit stop was really remarkable.
Yeah, that's what really did it for us. We got in front of a couple cars that fast, and track position meant everything. This Interstate Batteries Pontiac was just awesome today. I guess we scared a couple guys with the Frankenstein on the hood, but Goodyear tires, everybody, all of our sponsors did a great job. We're just really happy to be here. It's a good day for us.
Congratulations to you.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Let's go to Marty Snyder.
And Dale, the car looked so dominant early with Dale Earnhardt. What happened to it late in the race?
I don't know. Well, we had a left front shock go bad or something. The car picked up a terrible push in the center, and it just sort of bounced a lot on the left front or in the left front. So I'm thinking we had a shock go bad, but the car was running good, and it just don't go that bad. And then we adjusted, trying to tighten the car up, never got it any better. So just had a terrible day.
Was the car good enough to win, Dale?
It was at one point.
All right, Dale Earnhardt obviously takes a big hit in the point standings today with Bobby Labonte in victory lane.
Take a commercial break here and come back with more of our post-race coverage in a moment. You see Earnhardt finishing 11th, Burton 6th, Dale Jarrett finished in 40th. Bobby Labonte has won the UAW-GM Quality 500. Back to Charlotte in a minute.